Welcome everybody to session 39 of Forgotten Genesis Season 2. Don't have as many
39 was last session.
38 was last session.
Want to bet?
I know for a fact because I have the VODs.
Okay. Well, you didn't introduce it as 38, so...
Fairly certain I did.
No, it's the only thing I remember from last session.
That's the only thing you remember from last session?
It's one of the only things I remember from last session.
That's disappointing given the amount of prep work I put into last session.
That's what I mean as far as like detail, like daily detail type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we have a new headset. Oh,
Welcome in, Amber.
no.
Give me a second.
Penis.
I'm just letting y'all know I'm gonna be a little bit quiet. Alright.
It's all good. It's all good.
I was the dum-dum who forgot the dollar for popcorn or day. So I had to walk back to my apartment and then back to get Ren for $1. And
Gotcha.
I feel like an asshole because I forgot.
It's all good. Forgetting small things and then remembering other small things. And being scatterbrained just generally seems like part of being a parent, so...
Well, sorry, I look tired today, guys. I lifted like 200 pounds this week, and ever since I did, my body's like...
You're not supposed to be doing that with your knee in its condition, ma'am.
Okay. Either way, let's go ahead and get started, first of all, with a recap from last week.
I will let Amber start the recap this time, because
I don't remember anything at this exact moment in time.
Are you serious? Hold on.
My head hurts so bad, other than Nicodemus
Then
got
let's start with...
That's all I remember.
Let's start with Megan, since Megan usually has
Actually,
a really solid
Vinestra-
memory, and that usually should proc everybody else's memory. That said, Vinestra did post a recap right there in chat as well.
Various nobles offered their supports fairly freely. Halcyon's family was a dickhead and hired an assassin to kill Avery, Violet, and someone else. V captured Halcyon's mother, took over their palace, keep, place of living. Angel made Halcyon's mother sign an oath. Nick was possessed by that demon dragon guy.
Yep.
Possessed by the crazy lady.
I only remembered the Nicodemus part, and also I gave Wilsoni holy water with a delay to Halcyon's mother.
Also correct.
Yeah.
Because now every time she sprays it, it won't hit her immediately, the fourth wall break, so she won't ever know it's her perfume that's doing it to her.
I apologize. I'm really tired.
A little bit of delegation with some dissension alongside everything else. So, with that, I'll say everybody gets an inspiration die for this last week's recap. And additionally, now on to the roleplay question, of course. We'll start with Angel and then just kind of move along through there. First of all, how far is Angel willing to go to pursue the quote-unquote greater good? Do they believe in a greater good at all?
Are you really gonna ask that question?
It's what's on the list.
Really? That's a horrible question. I've done so many questionable things. To actually save people.
My brain. Why
I'm aware.
Sorry, I'm turning my phone down.
I'm letting you know Alcove is the furthest we're willing.
Yeah, a length that I really didn't expect, as that particular entity was framed up as a BBEG for a different campaign, but I digress.
Wait, what?
Alcove, he asked what
Oh, yeah.
that Angel was willing to go for the greater good.
The greater good.
The greater good.
Same question, of course, for Violet.
She went back into the beast, didn't she? That's the question she asked. She was like,
What was the question again? My brain turned off halfway.
How far is your character willing to go to pursue the quote-unquote greater good? Does your character believe in a greater good at all?
I mean, kill your brother. Amber?
I'm thinking. Also just realized that the little baby swing is causing the microphone to activate.
I'm also going to remind you.
I mean,
Kill your... Yeah.
death became evil and I had to fight death in hand-to-hand combat. I'll do it. I've killed a god before, haven't I?
It is
you have to kill
one
your
of the
brother,
cards
too.
you can pull in the deck of many things, fighting an incarnation of death that only you
Yeah.
are allowed to fight. So
But we did have to kill your brother because he was being possessed by a demon.
Okay, that's not as hard as killing a god. I killed a god.
I mean, you did.
which was only strictly possible because you guys time traveled back to a point where there was so much conflict that there was a stringent vulnerability with that god.
I still killed that.
We didn't travel back in time, Joe.
You guys
It was during
entered a
the
dilated
thingy.
pocket in time
Wait,
around
I'm
the
being
Whispering
called by
Fen.
my father. My father never calls. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, her dad never does. Yeah, she's right. Her dad does not ever call.
Go ahead and mute yourself real quick. And then finally, of course, the question forward and
I
on
am
to
here.
Venestra.
Mute yourself, Megan.
Yeah, we're already in D&D.
So, to reiterate the question one more time, how far is your character willing to go to pursue the quote-unquote greater good? Does your character believe in a greater good at all? Which means a perfectly valid answer to this question could be your character does not believe in a greater good. Or they do, and therefore therein goes the elaboration.
Did your dad literally just call you to check on you, say hi, how you doing? When he never fucking calls, ever, unless it's emergency?
Well, at least as far as the context of this question, I'm assuming...
I mean,
Let's treat it like the trolley experiment, but of course with the caveat of, there's entirely the possibility that the 5 people on the one side of the trolley are psychopaths, but it's not confirmed.
it's neither confirmed nor denied. I could explain why killing a Stret was for the greater good. She would traumatize her children regularly.
Oh yeah, that was like.
And tried to kill Angel.
Okay,
I tried to use Piper to do it.
Yeah,
That's Piper to do it.
I'm also going to remind you, this said god basically chased down a 0-year-old.
Depends wholly on the
hiding
situation.
under-
This question is nebulous. That's totally fair.
I'm going to put it to you this way, Venestra. The baby was floating in a pool of blood under a table, trying to hide from a Stret walking around in the pool of blood.
So circumstantially all for it, and the needs of the many over the one depend entirely on who the many are versus the one.
Yeah.
And depends upon the why.
That was weird.
Yeah, totally fair.
I mean, a new blood god was kind of needed, considering she was being a bitch.
I mean, she kind of tried to kill, like, she was complicit. She did know about the plot to kill Mora.
Which, of course, peek behind the curtain. There was never originally an intention for a Stret to die, but you guys did make it explicitly a character goal to find a way to make that god die and be replaced, so I integrated it.
Yes, but I also integrated.
It would not have happened if she didn't possess Piper to kill Angel.
Right.
Piper then had revenge boner.
Must avenge.
Must avenge the fact he tried to make
The
you
return
revenge.
of the Y boner with a vengeance.
Yes.
But yes, that only became a thing. If she had never done that, she would still be there.
Totally fair. Either way, all player characters present get inspiration die, both for the recap and, of course, the roleplay question. So,
Oh, I did want to ask another question to Amber. Can you put us on mute for just like 1 second?
sure.
Just for
Let's
1
see
second.
here.
It's a personal question because I need to know this answer.
Leave as suddenly as I came.
It's all good.
We're just happy to see you. Gonna need a day break. I lifted
Okay.
200 pounds, Drew.
Yeah, I know. So, that very brief BRB is over. Again, everybody earns their appropriate inspiration die. And I'm trying to scrape my mind together to recall where we left off yesterday.
We left off
I
with
ended up
the
leaving early
Angel
after
and
only an hour of
Nicodemus
being
going
there
to
because
bed.
my brain scrambled itself.
All of the delegates and everybody went to bed.
Yeah.
Respectively.
They were directed to appropriate quarters.
Yeah, that was kind of what happened. I wanted to have a moment with Halcyon and then...
I forgot there was a specific movie Dusty wanted to watch tonight, so he can only have it for a limited time, so I'm in here now. You can
Gotcha.
watch it.
So that's kind of what it is.
There have been a number of delegates that, of course, have been directed to appropriate quarters. That said, especially given engagements like this and expectations, at least as far as Angel is concerned of and aware of, there may be some night owls, so to speak, among official delegation that may still mingle and wander around the grounds to converse with each other, discuss things like that. Given how many politically charged people are here, not too shocking of an expectation. But
Does anybody start flirting with Angel's older children?
I get it. They're fucking. Actually, Angel and Nicodemus are not at the moment because we had to unpossess Nicodemus, and Nicodemus is no longer in the mood to bangy bang. The other delegates who are night owls.
3, 4, 5.
I mean, my kids are 2 owls, so I mean, please don't be referring to them. They're like, what, 4 years old?
I need to know which of the elves start flirting with my kids.
I'm going to roll to see who is, if anybody is at all, because again, as I mentioned last session, there weren't specifically any suitors among any of these groups here. But, that said, curiosities may form, so
I know.
let's see.
That entire dragon family.
Wow!
So.
Christ, everybody rolled single digits. Yeah, nobody's flirting. Holy
Everybody's
shit!
too focused. This is first time. This is first time for everything.
That's 3 nat ones. Which means 3 of the particular delegation groups got a little too plastered during the dinner party and just decided to pass out.
I'm gonna take that as everybody. Well, they're supposed to be here for like 2 to 3 days. But the whole thing is I know that the dwarves were supposed to arrive too.
Hold on, so that's 1, 2. Okay, so
Oh my god, we're gonna get so plastered.
the Sunrise
Dwarves are
Pact, that's
arriving.
Telvas and Company, they're just knocked the fuck out. Then we have the Sizathi Company, they're knocked the fuck out. And then finally,
Did they try to drink with it? Just with the angel
number
kids?
3, the Sun Elves are also knocked the fuck out.
So I have a question, DM. Did they try to outdrink the Aesir's angels?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily. This is just kind of travel exhaustion plus willing and witting inebriation. So, with that in mind, that leaves specifically the Star Elves.
He probably had to go.
and-
Oh yeah, and we visited the War God's realm.
Yeah, that was fun.
That leaves just the Star Elves and the Observers that are here from Arkala, as the ones that aren't plastered, and are also just still kind of wandering around and mingling. Okay. But that said, they just may be conversing with each other since the Arkala observers, as I'm shorthanding them, are not here necessarily to do any negotiations, anything like that.
Yeah, but they might have a younger guy with them.
Yeah, well,
We have a couple girls.
again, I already rolled that as well. I think they're just... The Star Elves being awake at night during an active aurora makes sense. Does make active sense.
How many of my Leyborns are not able to sleep?
Oh, a good few of them. A good few of them are having trouble in that regard.
They're Alex awake himself, basically.
Essentially, yeah. And then let's see here. I gotta make sure that the calendar is up and running, so that I can still keep track of everything else that's going on. Which, as a note, actually, with the intensity, the sheer intensity of this aurora as it's going on up north here, it is also reasonable to suspect that with as intense as it is, there may be parts around the world that are particularly far away from this that may still be able to see it. But, let's see here. There it is. Okay. Right now, it is the night of the 25th. Night of the 25th of Valorant. Fantastic.
So I have a question: Is Angel able to sleep with the newborn, or is the newborn upset?
Newborn, very, very quick to sleep, very calm in this environment. May have quite a bit to do with the fact that they were born in it, of course.
And changed because of the deity stuff. So, question: How many of them are asleep?
There's a number of your Leyborn that are not asleep because they're not used to this level of sort of solar event.
Yeah, is
Let
Hope
him-
one of them?
Let alone magical fluctuation. Hope is awake, not distressed necessarily, but she's kind of, up, staring out through her window. This just kind of look of awe and fascination painted on her face. Because, in particular, for a lot of your kids, this would also be, for most of them, their first time seeing something like this. It's a first for a lot of people here.
So they're like, did they beg to stay up? Did they beg to stay up?
Some do. Some are tired enough that their bodies just kind of crash out anyway. And some are directed by more of your older children to at least, even if they have to have their guest beds moved toward a window, be in bed regardless.
Funny, Angel and Nicodemus, as soon as all the kids are like halfway out, she's like, night. They'll come and find me if they need to go to sleep in our bed.
Nick very quickly wraps himself around you and kind of reinforces a presence of just exhaustion, wanting to pass out. Say that again?
Sleep, please. She looks over at Nicodemus. Sleep, please.
Yeah,
Please.
sleep. Gonna need it.
What do you mean I'm gonna need it?
I said I'm gonna need it. So you're probably gonna need to go with me.
Of course. And then she also looks up and says, "You're not the one giving birth, Nick. At least I hope."
Right now, I'm not worried about that as much as I am trying to recover from ejecting your problem from my body.
My problem? My problem?
Yeah. He was distinctly at
Our
odds with
problem.
you.
Red. Sorry.
So let's just pass out and relax. I know you're trying to be excitable, be a little bratty, and trying to get me to interact. I am wiped the hell out, Lovey.
I am not. It's not just my problem. Also your problem.
I get that. My point is, I'm exhausted. Relax with me, and let's fall asleep.
She is relaxed. She's just sitting there, just like, oh, wait. Just like,
Yeah,
not
this
gonna
is.
let you call it my problem. Turns over the big blankets, like, I'm just not gonna let you call it my problem.
Yeah, and he pulls you as close as brick comes to mortar, but one of the very few nights where he's not trying to initiate something active.
Just snuggles into his chest like he used to. You get scared at night. It's real nice. Like that. So,
You mentioned that as Violet, you wanted to do something with Halcyon?
yeah.
Okay.
So Venestra said she takes to the dragon. But I kind of want to watch the Aurora.
So do I.
What did Angel not ask me to do? Because I didn't get to.
She asked me not to torture my mother.
That's probably a good thing.
communed also with Harleyan and was additionally incentivized against it. I'd be marked for an oathbreaker had I gone through with it, and I really did want to.
I'm going to ask Vanessa to, before we go to bed, reach out to invitation. Or to come here, because I know she can't usually leave the mountain. For a need.
Well, I think it may be best to go there. Dragons are often stronger near their lairs, are they not?
I mean, didn't go anywhere, right?
I'm not rushing this.
Just for family. But I don't want to be carrying a demon around with me.
We're not carrying a demon.
We technically are. But that means being marked. Not okay.
You said you want to go watch the aurora. Then let's get outside.
I'll climb the tree. Is she the top of the tree?
In this kind of armor, I'm not much of a climber.
Come on.
You'll have to give me a few minutes to doff the plate.
I won't go until we say go.
All right, then.
Okay.
By the way, there's a strap over here by the right shoulder that, it's easy to tighten up and put on. It's a bit of a bitch to loosen. Could you get the latch
Yeah.
ready?
She goes and pulls it.
After a few minutes of just working through and doffing the armor, you've seen him without it a number of times, and you've helped him out of it on occasion in the last 2 years. There's more tension in his body language than you've ever seen on him.
Walks up behind him and, like, you know that spot of your neck, like where, like, the neck, like, hair usually, even when you have your hair up. She goes and she does the big raspberry noise in the back of his neck. I'm gonna beat you to the top of the thing. You better hurry up.
Yeah, in the shock motion of that action, he is definitely bolting after you. Go ahead and roll me an athletics check to climb the tree.
Nothing. I see you are trying to lose. You are trying to watch him climb in front of you. That is a 16.
23 for Halcyon.
Oh yeah, he's making very totally.
You get an
Totally
angle on him
okay.
that you very rarely get entreated with.
Yeah, it's one of those moments of like, wow, this is a new space to look up.
And I'm assuming you guys are trying to climb the silverwood, right?
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah.
It's a big ass tree.
Yeah. That's the point.
Like it is
Like big enough to
humongous.
sleep in. Yeah.
And you're gonna try to climb to the top?
I'm gonna try, but I don't think we're gonna make it that far.
It's gonna take a
The
few
air is
athletics
gonna be
checks
thin.
to attempt that, and it's gonna take
Okay.
at a climbing speed an hour if you're fast.
Uh,
Soft 20?
uh-huh.
Okay. 27. There, yeah, there starts to be a bit of a gap between you and Halcyon. 18. You start to gain on him in that final stretch, but he does make it to the top ahead of you. And
I'm
you
letting you know what
guys...
catches her up is her wings. Because she's got these wings on her back, now she's like,
Yeah.
can't get up the tree.
And again, it is the better part of an hour climbing up that tree. You two are absolutely a sweaty, strained, and sore mess by the time you get up there. As thick as the branches and the pine, I should say the needles are on this tree, there's not really that many places that can be easily stopped at for a rest point on the climb. So it's very much a lot to do with pacing yourselves as you go up. But him being a paladin and you being a barbarian, athletic exertion is not unfamiliar to either of you. And you eventually make your way up to the top.
Can I grab some pine cones on the way up, like those big ones, considering it's a big tree would have a larger one, and make like sitting spot? Because it opens in if Fibonacci super.
So you're able to gather and try and form these patches. How long they'll stay and how much strain it takes to go ahead and put these together, we can chalk that up as part of one of the reasons why you fell behind. You're unsure whether they will stick. But they're there, and it may make at least your descent a little bit easier. It's interesting as well, as you actively climb the surface of this tree and have been climbing for the long while that you have, it feels less like climbing on the surface of wood and bark and more like trying to ascend rough cut metal. There isn't that much in the way of sharp edges that can strictly cut or carve into or cut pieces off of you. But it's metallic in more than just its appearance and name. It does in no small way remind you of an ironwood from the Feywild. But given its sheer scale and everything else, there are, of course, those blatant differences. And one particularly beautiful thing as you do, of course, make it to the top. The sheer reflectivity coming off of the tree and the needles and the cones. It's almost a mirror sheen that seems to be reflecting the aurora in and of itself, kind of producing an augmentation to the light show as you both take it in from the admittedly frigid heights atop this tree. You're at a height up here which wouldn't be uncommon for many flight-bearing and terrible and powerful beasts. The air's thin up here. It's a little bit difficult to breathe in regards to that. And just the natural increase in wind, at least as expected. But most unexpected. While weather events like auroras and everything else like that, while they're usually so massive and so far away that even ascending up a tree or a tree the size of a building even wouldn't necessarily make it seem like it's closer. It actively does. It seems closer, seems bigger, seems larger as you're high up here. Almost as if these arcs of beautiful light aren't necessarily dancing along the surface of an atmosphere, but piercing through it. As you can see the lights of the clouds around them catching, dancing, shifting, and glowing.
Do you feel any better?
It was a welcome distraction.
A welcome distraction if I am.
I was talking about the climb. You're just welcome.
I'm slightly upset.
Slightly.
It's an understatement, but I've got so.
I feel like I had a chance to return even a fraction of the pain that someone who has felt like a captor of mine throughout my life. I felt like I had an opportunity to take something back, and apparently it would have been too damaging for my soul to seek an act that I felt would be healing.
Thing just didn't do it then. Maybe.
Not for an oathbreaker,
It's
for revenge. I understand it. I don't like it.
why are you upset?
I went into the service of a god to be beholden to a higher power, in an effort to escape being beholden to a family that was so enraptured with itself that it felt like its existence was a spite upon gods as well, and I traded one trapping authority for another. Which is ironic. Being under Arlene isn't a trap, isn't a cage, but it's damned it if I didn't feel shackled by that.
Oh, hello.
So yes, I'm
Well,
upset. I'm
I think
trying
you're doing
not
the
to be.
best you can. I think you're doing the best you can.
Thank you for the camp counselor answer. What do you really think?
I think you're too stuck up and you're too proud sometimes, and it gets you stuck up in your ass.
You like it enough that sometimes it gets me stuck up in yours.
It's not true. We haven't gone there yet. Oh,
Not yet, and I wouldn't want to do it this high up.
there are things we could do. That I got wings now. She's like, I got wings. I can do things. Talk about your size difference.
It is beautiful up here.
It is nice. I am glad that Angel brought us home. I wish you would.
It's funny. Usually when people are up this high, the first thing they think to do is to look down at a place they're familiar with, but I haven't thought once to look down at that town.
I still want to talk about it.
What are your thoughts? I'm not the only one that had to deal with harsh reality today.
And my dad is an idiot.
Or just as shackled as I am.
Well, you made that decision, and I haven't God that's waiting for that decision for me. We're going to have some stipulation. Considering I carry that dragon, he may not be able to come.
I don't think it's Arlene's place to order you around. You haven't made yourself beholden to a god.
I know, but he does want me to make some type.
What about Nephis' offer?
What I'm talking about is Argus. Argus is the one being yeah. Arlene is in your all I'm talking about there. If it's big or not.
Sure, you still have a lot to think through.
But America sent the dragon into this journey.
Yeah.
To get me out of it. And from what I've heard, from what Angel said about some stories, that family tied himself to me on purpose. They don't listen to anyone. They're quiet.
Well, Memphis is the prime deity of neutral divinity. So, being flexible, I think, is part of that.
Yes, but
Entire
Marcus also
engagement.
asks for things. Marcus only asks for things that he knows he'll get.
True.
Issue. Because I think he thinks it's rather stupid to try anything bigger than yourself like that. In case he knows you can do
Geysir
it.
is also a neutral god, though.
Yes, but Geysir has something up his arse. He used to anyways.
I think, depending on perspective, every god has something up their arse.
I mean, the only thing up Angel's arse is Demas, but that's another thing.
It's another many things. He's a changeling.
We don't talk about the options. Angel doesn't
Options
like it
for
when you
her.
she doesn't like it when you talk about the options.
I'm an elf.
Face. Her face turns bright.
I have to buy and make things to have options.
I don't have that problem.
Yet.
No, I just don't. I can now probably more.
Recreationally? Seems like a...
Yes. That's what the wings are. She's like, look, I can do it. See? This is a cool thing I can do now. She's so happy about it right now.
They do look quite beautiful on you.
I really like them. But they're not as big as Venestra's, but I kind of like them a little bit smaller.
Why are you comparing sizes? Those are bigger because she's bigger.
She is an intimidating figure.
Didn't figure you for someone to get into a wing measuring contest.
It's just not that. It's just that, like, the only way that they'd be actually able to be that span, I don't want to hurt them. And I don't want to have problems walking through a doorway. So, I'm not
Then you'll
gonna
have to
do
talk
that.
through more flight lessons with her, but maybe not just that, but, you know, wing awareness. I don't know if that's... This is a weird topic.
No, I just had to feel we did back in Charney where we were doing training and combat.
Maybe.
That helped this time. You still don't duck when there's giant stalagmites.
Maybe less an issue with you and more just an issue with some people's environmental awarenesses.
You mean yours, considering that you hit your head in the ceiling more than once in there?
I was having a rough day.
That's a rough day.
What would you call it?
I call it distraction.
I'm sure you would.
If you're gonna be in a place that's dangerous, we went down into the abyss.
Yes.
You didn't get as distracted in the abyss. Apparently.
I still had some, unfortunate moments down there.
Not bad.
Hmm.
I've seen worse on Angel's body when she gets all messy.
I've been strung up and impaled, neither of which in the fun way.
That's just a normal Wednesday in the abyss.
The fuck's a Wednesday?
I don't know. Angel says Tuesday, so I decided to go with Wednesday, because that's the other day.
What the hell are you talking about?
Well, in Zaria, there's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
In
Thursday, Friday,
Zar-
Saturday.
What?
Not in Zaria. In the original Terra. Griffin taught me about Terra's days.
Right, well, here in Zaria we have a Mysterious Leonis, Velius, Griseldis, Idrol, Lucast, and Jorash. So what are you talking Griseldis?
Sometimes it's funny because people always ask, why do you always say that? You just like you did. 'Cause it's fun.
It's bizarre.
My life is bizarre. So.
So is mine. All of our lives are bizarre because we are adventurous. Where very rarely young and ambitious people grow to be old. Of course, you can be old when you start, and then you alleviate half of that risk.
I don't like what we're gonna have.
Nor do I, but it's part of the job, isn't it?
No, these are I'm not good with pomp and circumstance.
Well, I don't know if they've asked you to be a leader of their family. Given... Could.
It's not what it could become. This is what it is. This is where it sits.
Where you sit is next to me.
Well, in case there's going to be another child that magically appears after all of the vampires wiped out half of the bloodlines in our family.
I can arrange that.
Arrange a lot of things. A lot of positions. That's not the situation. She can tell she's not following the situation at all. But which cousin would you choose?
That's taking it a little too far.
What are we talking about? What are we talking? She's like finally realized you were talking about something.
Gods, Violet. He grabs the back of your head and pulls you in for a kiss as we go ahead and we switch down to...
Yes, Josh. Or Piper.
Vanessa or Piper, if either of them are choosing to do anything with the late hour of the night.
Piper.
I mean, I trance every night so I can get it done.
Also, discipline your children after the crazy
Vanessa
day.
and Amira. What is it they are doing?
No one asked where Vanessa and Amira were.
I did.
They're set up in the silver tree as well, watching and now listening to Violet and Halcyon chat.
Oh my god, they're onlookers.
Okay, so I'm just imagining it's the apartment building where you're like on the balcony that's like a floor down and one over.
Halcyon has no idea. Not paying attention to it.
Yeah. Which, when deciding to fly up there, it's a hell of a lot easier than trying to climb.
Let's see what
God.
Halcyon's she's probably gonna ask about Halcyon's dad next. She's
So are Vanessa and Amira just listening in, or is there anything else they're also looking into doing?
I keep wondering if they're like hiding his owls.
Or are they just probing and listening in for like, just waiting for him to say something that means we can start a transaction? Just admiring the view and leaving the two lovers to interact. Fair enough.
Aww.
Alright, so then on the subject of Piper with her trance, given that, of course, you do have the either 4 extra hours to buy in the morning or 4 extra hours to buy in the evening, depending on how you choose to, or when you choose to frame that trance.
depends. How rowdy are the kids being? Because there's a party. And how hard are they to put to bed?
It's a party that has simmered down a decent bit. And while they were initially rowdy, something of note in particular with the also strikingly divine nature of the Aurora, at least up here, they seem more tired than normal.
Oh. So they're fairly easy to put to bed?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There are some kids that are being a little bit stubborn insofar as like trying to go through like the fight the Benadryl kind of feeling.
Like the owls who are like, we're supposed to be awake at
We're
night.
supposed to be awake. What's going on? Especially
We're
with the
supposed to
Ellen.
be awake. You're awake during the day. You can't also be awake during the sleep time.
Yeah.
You either sleep at daytime or sleep at sleep time.
Which, I mean, the Owlin being night owls is not shocking, but the fact that they are so wiped out, I mean, it is notable. And they weren't necessarily like horribly rowdy insofar as like it would make sense just from sheer physical activity that they would be this tired. It seems very much reactive to the magical fluctuation going on outside. To that end as well, you do feel some unnatural tiredness starting to kind of seep its way in to yourself as well. Which, of course, with Fey ancestry, you can't necessarily be strictly magically put to sleep, but it is a notable kind of environmental exhaustion that seems to almost like seep its way in.
Well, I'm gonna find Piccolo. I'm gonna gather the kids. I'm gonna see what happens if we take them home.
Sure.
Piccolo!
Yeah, what's up?
I have a feeling we should go home just for to tuck the kids into bed.
Just to tuck the kids.
Have my mom.
Yeah. You're
The
gonna.
Owlin are tired.
Yeah, I noticed. So I mean, like, I'm assuming we want to get back here quick, so we got to figure out, like, dilation of some kind, right? To firm it all out.
Remember I lined up my time dilation to match up with wherever Angel is in the world?
True. All right, let's give it a shot.
So yeah, we're gonna go take them.
By the way, I'm going to remind you that it's going to be harder to travel to the Fey realm because it is a divine aurora.
My home is Mercast in Fey form.
I get that.
It means there will be just basically a roll to see if you manage to get there on target.
Oh, great.
That's why leaving would not be a good idea.
As an aside, V is waiting for Violet and Halcyon to be free to suggest going to Halcyon's castle and the dragon. All right. Well,
Okay.
let's see. So, as I'm assuming you're going to attempt to...
He has shift, right?
Yeah, I believe you do. Or actually, yeah. Also...
He does.
Yeah,
Not
he does.
me yet.
He's going to go ahead and attempt to plane shift, which plane shifting to a home plane has a lower DC, of course. So let's see. Okay. Oh god. Shit. Okay. Let's see here.
Do I need to spend 2 of my inspiration DC to give to Piccolo?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10. If you'd like to.
Yes.
Alrighty.
The boy needs the inspiration is what that sounded like.
God. Piccolo's not having a good night. Oh my God.
Oh, shit. Where the fuck are we ending up?
Roll me a d10
Oh, great.
to see whose court you land in as you both step through a magical Fey gateway with your kids in tow.
Piccolo does have ties to Eco, so have this.
Yeah, this is less on the person and more so on the traversal.
I know, I'm just reminding the DM that the magic is basically.
I'm aware.
That's a 4.
4.
Please be somebody who will let us go home.
So, you step through and, oddly, not much of a temperature difference at all. Like, did you even travel? You look around and you notice all these misshapen, wintry trees. As you step into the winter court.
Great. Now it's snowing. Again.
Right, I think we're a little bit off target.
No shit, Sherlock.
I'm gonna try this again. Now that it is actually in the Feywild,
We can
should be
tree
a little less
stride,
difficult.
right?
Yeah, that's total. Yeah, let's do that.
I'm using tree stride to go home because I know where my home tree is.
Easy enough to do once you finally are in the Feywild, stepping through one of Grianne's trees as you watch frost and ice snap off of the bark as it kind of arches and reshapes itself, opening a doorway into Capulus Medicus. As your kids, very quickly, a lot less lethargic, but still reasonably tired.
All right, Mom. Because she's probably here.
Well, hello there. It's been a little bit.
What? What'd she say?
It's been a little bit. What's been going on?
Well, we've been in the abyss. We finished that.
Right. Bunch of the
right
Archfey
now
been
we're-
working on cutting out the rest of the demon remnant that are still in this fucking place.
Yes, except for here. But we were in Kirin, and the Aurora is having some nice effects on the kids. Although I don't think it's healthy for them.
Right. I'm assuming you mean that, Aurora. She points up to the sky, and there is a similar solar event happening up in the sky above Capulus Medicus.
Yeah, that. The owlin want to go to bed.
Right.
It's not even midnight.
Let's get him to bed then, why don't we?
Yep.
We're gonna get him all to bed.
Alright. Easily done. Which also, point of note in particular being here, specifically. In the Feywild and looking up toward the Aurora. Well, there was sort of a kind of radiant silver edge to a lot of the activity. At least in the material plane.
Mm-hmm.
There seems to be more of a particulate edge to it here. Like there are fireflies that are actively wafting off of each edge of the Aurora. Or brushed snow. It seems more organically alive than you'd expect here. That edge of specifically divine essence is less charged. But it's still present.
Well, I guess while we're here, start planning some of those failed projects. and do my translator back at the PD.
Certainly. Easy enough to just quickly plant a lot of these various little experiments.
Not the spider mint. The spider mint is specifically going to angels.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, planting a lot of these various little experiments, seeing how well they'll seed and kind of what comes of them will, of course, happen later. But they do take to the soil easily enough.
Good, good, good. And once we get that done, we'll head back. Just tell my mom. So we have delegates, and I don't need an incident.
Right.
Oh. If you could watch them until we're no longer in incident territory, that'd be great.
Understood. I'll keep an eye on the wee ones. And it should go smoothly. Well, no. Not to introduce any fey jinxes worth my salt. It'll go manageably. Paraphrasing and all.
Yeah. Does Piccolo still require 8 hours of sleep? Because he's no longer Eladrin, he's the weird thing.
Yeah, here, I mean, given what he has turned into, yeah, he does still require the 8 hours. As he was previously physically of Fey ancestry, it is not necessarily as reflected in what he's become now.
Well, I guess while I put the kids to bed, I let him sleep and planted all the plants. Now that we're heading back, I'm gonna kick him with my foot and be like, you can sleep again when we get home.
Fine.
I can't play in shift yet.
I know,
Haven't
I
figured that
know.
one out.
Well, it's a matter of if you can prepare the spell at your current level.
I have no idea if I can or not.
I'm gonna say we've tried. Angel actually has played too, so we've probably tried. And Piper ends up playing.
Yeah. One of the unfortunate mild caveats of multiclassing. But it is this. Greater versatility with less emphasis on singularly powerful things.
Mm-hmm. Back home to Trent.
Alrighty.
We're kidding. Fitting is not home. We are currently at home, but we're going to Keith.
Okay, do this Halcyon and them. Oh, so did they make it home?
Yeah, you guys make it home just fine. Venturing back is easy enough. And then there's that, again, just sort of returning feeling of mild loopiness in lethargy in the presence of this night. But you make it back home and you settle in wherever you choose to do so, whether that's in your quarters or outside, just kind of continuing to gauge the aurora.
It's cold. No. Indoors we go. I may aesthetically be lava, that does not give me the ability to feel warm all the time.
Totally understandable. So, with that, anything specific you'd like to focus on with this sort of latter half of the night? As I just kind of asked this vaguely to the group at large here.
Oh.
Well, Vanessa was waiting for a moment for Halcyon and them to start making out like children from free.
Minestra actually said, hold on. As an aside, V is waiting for Violet and Halcyon to be free to suggest going to Halcyon's castle and the dragon.
That's cute. Yeah, they're pretty much taking naps. Probably downstairs.
I think at least the dragon would be good. I don't know if I'm keen on rushing home so
I'm
soon.
not even keen on going to see the dragon yet. That's when they get
Okay.
That entire valley is going to be a water source unimaginable. Maybe that'll put it right.
Maybe. And as it is, at least if my estimation of time zones is correct, it would still be nighttime if we were to go there now.
There is a tree there too. Use this tree. Hyper shot knew how to. That was the one thing we all of us learned how to walk with the trees. That was the group learning thing. Everybody had to learn how to walk through trees.
Mm-hmm.
We can take this tree. There.
Megan's a bit quiet, says Venestra.
Sorry, my microphone's not as close to the face. If you walk there, I can walk through the tree. But if you won't mind, that's why we can't. There's one on a Morris Mountain where I can actually use. But I don't know how to get them to come out of the mountain. But they've met you, I think, so they'll probably end up going up.
Okay. Now on the subject, just to clarify and make sure that my writing isn't conflicting with yours from your game, Megan. Is this a dragon that has already been named on your
Yes.
side?
Yes?
Okay, I'm gonna need to be passed some notes.
Okay.
I will shelve
You
what
wanna-
I've
you wanna
written
take-
down for something else.
You want to take a 5-minute break?
You gotta find the note.
Well,
No, I got it. I'm not gonna pass the notes. I gotta verbally give you the notes. 'Cause this.
sure. We can call a brief and early break here for a moment.
Okay.
Either way.
I'm letting you know if you came to him in the middle of the night, he'd be wearing another type of pajama. It's just more plaid. Apparently, plaid is his aesthetic. Even though she's constantly said to him, "Stop wearing plaid. It doesn't look good on you all the time." Because it's his favorite, the comfy space. And you can wear your comfy space. You need to change your colors up once in a while, because red is not going to be your only color, dude.
Okay, so an ancient rose pearl dragon who has an obsession with plaid and shark slippers. Okay.
He has the bunny slippers. She has shark slippers. She has like a set of slippers for every day.
Okay, let me correct, because you said that she had the bunny first.
No, that's when she swaps slippers with him. That's a bad day.
Okay.
If she's wearing bunny slippers, we're in a bad day. If she's wearing his bunny slippers and he doesn't have them.
All right.
They're the bunny slippers from Monty Python.
I see.
They still exist.
Yeah.
She also has Frodo.
This is also
Yes.
where like one of the I would say dungeon master personalities for us diverge, because like you have a lot of like small details oriented into your stuff, and then I've got like the broad scope painting which I really appreciate in your sessions, and I'm just trying to have my brain catch up with it here.
Well, okay, you have to think about it like their entire house is extremely modernized, right?
Yeah.
Except for like the section where all of the Cavis live. There's like a giant underground forest that she does cultivate for them.
Okay.
So you have to understand, when she got 1,000,000 Cavis there, she had to order some more hoes and some more rakes. It was one of those days of like, I have to code more magic into this computer. I'm tired.
I see. Okay. So,
She also has a humongous giant cuffy hood.
gotcha.
Very so much. I love her and her husband. Oh, and her husband is extremely aesthetic. He plays into all of the nerddom, but he has an entire room filled of like one of his hoards is a giant room full of miniatures. It's a collection. He's like, that's a collection. Don't touch it. Don't touch that one. That one's limited edition. He's that guy. And video games. That's his thing.
Right. Okay. So.
Yeah.
I'm trying my best to cement the pieces of information I've just received. Okay. So.
Just think about two gamer nerds. Just living together, like
Right.
happy little beams.
Yep. Okay, so again, we are out of the BRB, strictly speaking. So let me go ahead and switch the music back as well. There we go.
I'm ready.
Torqued my back. Somehow. That was a nice little sensation of something's wrong with the spine. Scoliosis rearing its ugly head, but either way. So. There you are, Halcyon Violet, currently up in the tree addressing
Let's go and give
Venestra
it a
and
go.
Amira. There are
We can get
options
some-
to tree stride through the Silverwood as an option, or to go through Venestra's sort of walk cycle.
Prefer if we tree stride it because it leads us straight inside and we don't have to basically go through the whole rigmarole of knocking on the door. Because they're kinda. From what Angel says, they're standoffish. Not hands on very much. Very much true to themselves. They like people apparently, but they don't go outside as often. Apparently only when it's daytime.
Master, is you there?
There we go.
Waiting for the chat. Waiting for the chat.
Please tapping.
And I would probably do a lot of business with Venestra. Lots of business with Venestra.
If the husbands collect miniatures, would they have bought anything from Amira?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Totally. There's a whole shelf of like limited edition things whenever they come out, and even like ask you for like the broken ones so he can put new things together and make
Yeah.
tiny monsters.
I will say the subject of these two being dragons in the current era and framework of most of the dragons being missing, not strictly common knowledge. That said, because of course,
They've been sealed in the mountain though.
yeah, and because of your draconic nature as well, Venestra, you procced them for exactly what they are.
Yeah, I mean, a glowing purple lake of amethyst might have given it away or something, you know, with pink pearl mixed in or something. There's some pink pearl at the bottom of this lake. Nobody is. Oh, sure enough.
Either way, once anyone who wanted to go was ready,
you would go with or take them there.
Okay. And to you, Megan, as well, I apologize ahead of time if the way I portray these two is different from how you would. I'm just going to be interpreting the information that you've given me.
He's a closeted. He's a total nerd top. There you go.
Is he Wilford mother-loving Wharfstaff?
Not in the same portrayal of Wilford frickin' Warfstache, but he is very much like flamboyant when you actually get to know him, and he's extremely verbose about things he likes, and so is she. So it's like they completely work with each other because they're always talking to each other. It's always like they're a little hive-minded. But they love people, but they don't get to see them very often, and they don't feel like they should like impose. By the way, these two were born during the COVID era, so please be nice.
So they are absolutely self-projections. Okay, gotcha.
No, they were born. That's when I thought these vine children up. So they were literally born during the COVID era.
In other words, when the campaign started, essentially.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
COVID started a year after.
No.
The game started in 2020.
Oh.
February of 2020.
Yeah.
And then the world went to shit about a month of the way into the game.
We're not talking about it because that's when Yusuke died.
So.
No, we had 3 months. Three good months before that happened. 3 good months.
Okay. Anyway. So we taken them there.
Oh my god, she would know where the entrance is if she's been in their house before.
Okay. So. I'm assuming then in this case, do you and Halcyon want to go ahead and tree stride while Benestra and Amira follow through, or do you let them do their shadow walk thing to follow after you? What's...
I think we should do the... I think that we can take 9 people through with the tree stride thing, right?
Let me double check. Hold on.
Yeah.
I have a...
It is...
Not contagion.
Middle of the night and half of the party is asleep.
Or is asleep, yes.
Given at least spread of time zones when you arrive there, it will also be middle of the night, although closer to morning over there.
Yeah, which is usually when night owls are awake.
It doesn't say how many you can take with.
Those rolls are like 8.
With Tree Stride, it's just strictly speaking open for 6 seconds, so it's a matter of how many people you can get to rush through in 6 seconds.
Oh, it says concentration up to 1 minute.
Yep. It's the only spell. It's one of the only spells Amira would have, not Amira, that Violet would have actually learned. I kind of want to use it because I need to keep practicing. Because if I don't keep practicing, then the trees don't talk to me, and it's not great. It's hard to do it.
Piper's like, so, you want to learn to tree stride?
Oh God!
If that Captain America thinks so, you got detention. You screwed up.
Right. So I'm going to tree stride with Amira and Benestra and Halcyon through the tree.
Okay.
And we're going to exit through the route. Part 2 it is in the mountain, so there's an open space in the mountain where it goes into the water.
As the tree opens up and you all step through very quickly, you find yourselves at the base of a silver wood. This one far more secluded, seemingly buried in a lot of other tree growth and shielded somewhat by the encroaching edges of a large mountain range. You are immediately met with a large pool around a waterfall. At the base of the pool, it looks like almost you're staring into Amazonite, as it is sort of this large, smoothed pool, pearl deposit that is itself sort of flanked by outcroppings and jutting out instances of what seem like amethyst matrices. All in all, a very pretty sight, and even still from where you are, what, admittedly compared to Inkirin, the faint but still vibrant reflections of the aurora as they sort of bounce and reflect off of sort of this Amazonite base of the pool in the water. Still very pretty. Different sort of pretty, of course, but a pretty sight nonetheless. And as now no less than 3 dragon-adjacent beings make their very sudden presence known among 2 other straight-up dragons. Let me see here.
You have to roll. Sometimes so scared.
High or low?
Okay, let me see. Violet. So
Low, you said?
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Violet got.
Alright, and Vanestra with a high. So it was too low. So, it was a natural 3 on my roll.
Now it's 14.
Okay. Either way, you all feel the not-so-subtle shift of a sort of psionic vibration in the air. Psionic presence is something that gem dragons are already known for in a greater degree than other dragon types. And it seems to briefly, not quite painfully, but notably scrape across your minds. And for you, Violet, in a almost personally familiar sensation, given that it's almost like, you know, someone with the same phone deciding to airdrop something to you.
Is it like is it like a ding on your phone?
Kinda.
Ugh.
And for you, Vanestra and Amira, you've been here before. These two have been clients in the past. Not necessarily for your more devious merchandise.
Sometimes.
On rare occasion, they will make those orders. Namely, a lot of decorative stuff, a lot of figurines, a lot of sort of personal vices and projects. Obsessive, in a way, as if adding to a collection, but given that they are dragons, that is not shocking. On the rare occasion that they do purchase something from you, let alone something of that nature, they tend to buy out your stock of whatever it is that they are looking to buy. As dragons, funds are not exactly limited, and as dragons, a high quantity of a thing that they like is also not uncommon. So it is here as well, particularly where you are, that you are met mostly with what seems to be the mouth of a cave that has in itself conjoined into sort of this naturally organic hut outstretched from the roots of the silverwood to sort of accommodate a living space in a lair for this particular gathered pair. You can even see sort of jutted out large crystalline segments that seem to pierce through the stone and themselves act as sort of like wall dividers that stretch deeper into this rather impressively sized cave.
Two of Angel's kids would be living outside the mountain. They live outside the mountain.
Yeah.
Well, they live in the mountain, but they live like in places watching the caddis. That's their job.
Another thing, not so subtle, as all of you do have decently good ears, you can hear the slightest echoes of a almost delightfully complex language that itself is comprised of a number of high-pitched, animalistic squeaks.
I haven't heard that in a long time. Actually, I've heard it before we went to bed, but it's because there's only 3 of them in Angel's vicinity.
So now I'm going to roll to see who greets you first.
Intro's not so well developed into their game that they're too focused or arguing about which Doctor Who happened
Okay, actually,
where.
reasonably, this works as another high or low, and this will dictate based on the 2 sets of D100s I rolled. Who greets you?
Nice.
Nice.
It's very nice.
And for you, Master?
Considering my campaign, and these characters are from my campaign, that does not surprise me. Let's roll. Nastra? Hello? 56. That's not bad.
56. Okay, so both high. And with that... yeah. That means you meet... You meet Ebony first. Venturing out, strictly and strikingly in her humanoid form, wearing a sort of purple bedazzled, seemingly just as a recent hobbyist project, purple bedazzled bunny slippers.
Oh, it's a bad day. Bad day. Which game did you lose? That's a question we ask in life.
Long, disheveled amethyst hair, scales that very plainly and obviously kind of race up her body, and what looks like a t-shirt that would not be out of place at an anime convention that is just completely painted, oddly enough, with guts from Berserk. It is very well kept, and it is very old. So, a couple of you I recognize, a couple of you I don't.
Can you see that Griffin came with us? Because I really want Griffin to come with us.
Griffin's passed out.
Yeah. Next time.
A couple of you I recognize, a couple of you I don't. I don't believe I have arranged for delivery yet. Vanestra. Also, hi, Amir. How you doing, sweetie? Then as far as the two of you, her eyes go from dilated just from the darkness of the night to immediately focusing into amethyst slits, staring you directly in the eyes. Violet. You've got a problem.
Yeah.
And as she's just continuing to stare Violet directly in the eyes, she does hear your... Go ahead.
Vanessa says, doing well, and our two companions here need your assistance. We also come bearing pre-released goods.
I'm sure they do need my assistance. Pre-released, huh? Her eyes have not left yours, Violet, and they are piercing.
Violet is not staring her down. Violet is terrified. It's hard to see.
Is she hiding behind Halcyon?
This is a moment where it's like, I'm just gonna keep blinking until someone talks to me.
Roll me a wisdom saving throw, Violet, against Draconic Presence, specifically focused on you.
I will say this. It's like, I am not here to fight, to stoke any fires. I'm just here as a guest.
That's a natural 20 with that wisdom save.
For a modified...
I don't think she has a very high wisdom. Oh, it is high now. It's like an 11. It gave me a plus point.
Remember that whatever your saving throw bonus is, add another +3 because you guys are in epic levels.
Okay.
It'll get to +4 once you guys reach level 25.
It's a 29 for wisdom save.
29 with the additional +3?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, half proficiency if you're not proficient. Just okay. So you don't get the bonus if you're already proficient. Gotcha. I see. So 29. With the 29, you're fine. You manage to avoid the supernatural level of fear in being in her presence, and you just feel now just kind of that instinct of you are encroaching on somebody else's territory, and it is somebody whom in the utmost indirect sense would be considered kindred. At least it has that feeling to it.
You want some potato chips? That's all Violet says.
I'm actually making hot cocoa, if you all would like to come inside.
Sure.
And she very quickly turns about and goes to walk inside. As she does so, you swear you see the shadow of hers, not at all matching the humanoid shape she's wearing, and it is just the swaying, trotting, massive form of a dragon that shifts in the light behind her.
Go look. See. In a big shape. She says Halcyon.
Right, I barely registered that. I just noticed that you shrinked next to me, so...
It's fine. It's just a real dragon sniff.
I suppose it is. So I'm assuming you all follow her inside.
Yeah.
Okay. As you do all venture in, you do notice, kind of off to the side where there are... where there is a bit of noise echoing through the cavern, you do just barely see the sort of fringe remnants of, or not necessarily fringe remnants, but the haphazardly obscured mechanisms that make for an actual electronic geothermal generator. A bit of technology that Venestra and Amira in particular would be somewhat familiar with. Compared to the setting that they're from, it is a little bit crude, but it is very large for its size.
Would Violet know what it is, considering her reading all of the comic books? That
Roll me a
has?
history check.
She loves the comic books because it's
yeah.
got pictures in it.
With this type of generator specifically, I mean, you know, this type of thing isn't necessarily always laid out in comic books, so there is a factor that plays into that, but still.
What kind of save? A history?
A history check.
Hold on. That is a 23.
23. You know it's a generator. You've looked through books enough to know that it is there. It is clearly generating electricity. The not so subtle light buzz that is coming off of it and feeding into the various conduits and mechanisms that are allowing for light sources and other things to function here do make that it is a generator pretty obvious. As far as its size and what specifically it's drawing power from, you're uncertain.
She's gonna walk in and follow.
Okay. Venturing in, you get deeper into the cave, and you can see that there are parts of it, of course, that are blatantly designed for draconic sizes. There are hordes, there are places of larger scale to sleep on that are filled with, of course, your common fare of gems and coinage and metals and all that. And then there is an insane amount of what, if Griffin were here, he'd be going nuts over, ancient human memorabilia. All of which very carefully sealed in display cases, very, very carefully preserved. None of it reeks of foreign magic, at least as far as your senses, but you have a recognition of what items like this generally indicate. There are troves and troves of this, and off to another side of the cave where there are less just admittedly organized, but still somewhat haphazard, it being a dragon's horde, piles of things. There is a sort of staggered and structured architecture to the cave that seem more so designed intentionally for the humanoid polymorphing size of both of these dragons, as they are specifically laid out and decorated with various bits of furniture, electronics, televisions that are actually functioning, both tube and flat screen, and a number of other pieces of scattered, but again intentionally sort of collected in certain places, technology. It's almost as if it's like someone trying to do an open floor plan for a flat apartment, except having to try and figure out how to fit that into an aircraft hangar. And how to properly spread it out, and where to put in supports for flooring in different places. With that said, especially around the areas where it is structured for the humanoid shapes, there are places where it is sort of enclosed. Some of which actually it seems like they are sort of repurposed and actually harvested pieces of old structures, and the rooms that were left in them sort of basically attached to the walls in one way or another, and in other places clearly just parts of the cave were very much dug out to fit some of these things.
Just like memorabilia from movie sets and stuff like that.
All kinds of things. Movie sets, TV, just errant bits of architecture, pieces of stores. It looks like, for all intents and purposes, sort of a more intentional and obsessively organized bit of that one particular part of the abyss that you all had gone to that had just scattered pieces of lost things. It does remind you of that, with vibrancy and life in it, in stark contrast to that location.
wonder if I could do two things this evening. I really want to bring back that chest.
Maybe. And of which, as they are dragons and don't really see much need to hide it, as very few people would be bracing enough to walk up to a fucking dragon's cave, there is also a carved out section of particularly the humanoid shaped side of the lair that is devoted to and very lavishly laid out various implements that were most likely ordered from Venestra and Amira. In particular, a light with quite a lot of, it seems, red-toned light bulbs.
Red-toned light bulbs.
Yeah, and that is one thing also of a very blatant note in here. In terms of light sources that most everyone is used to in just a setting like Zaria, like firelight or magically enforced crystal light, most all of it is electric, except for bits that run specifically through crystal and are augmented further with magic to continue to function properly. As on some of these, even from this far out, you can see that they have been inlaid with draconic rune work to kind of maintain themselves.
So we followed her to get cocoa?
You do. There are, you can see just even in the walls and in a lot of the dig-outs, there are a number of different kitchenettes, of which they seem to have, and have devoted to them, specific collections of styles of cookbooks. They seem to be obsessive enough to be like, we're going to have a whole kitchen specifically for this style, and then a whole kitchen specifically for this style. And it's also obsessive and decorated in the appropriate style, at least based off of what most likely are the pictures shown off on some of those cookbooks. And what she does pull you into seems to be most likely what amounts to be the chocolatier's kitchenette. There's cocoa in here, but it is actually naturally melted chocolate. You can see off on a rack there is actually drying cocoa bean. So they haven't.
Is there a big copper?
Oh yeah, yeah, big ass copper setup, a lot of copper bowls and everything.
It's like a dream. It's like when we went to Avernus.
Avernus is in the Hells. You guys haven't really ventured down there much.
Where do we go? Why am I saying Avernus? Oh, it's because I played Baldur's Gate. What's the?
You guys went to the Abyss, that particular layer.
No, last season. Where did we go last season? Robot Place. Robot Place is...
Robot Place?
Yeah, Robot Place with Robot God.
Oh, so yeah, you guys did find an ancient human ruin that did actually allow you to interconnect with a satellite that is still floating above this area.
No. We went and we saw a dying god, and then we went to save Piper's family.
I mean,
Mechanist.
Yeah, that. Okay. There was a cyberspace, and then there was Mechanist. Yeah.
The sneeze. I was planning on saying it quicker, but my sneeze was winding up.
Mechanist. Well, this reminds me of Mechanist.
V and Amira would follow along as Amira would get out the pre-release special edition miniatures, and she does look over them with some mild fascination. So that, I mean, my partner's going to be a lot more interested in this, but he needs to. Stop playing Call of Duty for all of 5 minutes so that he can take a look. He has phases.
Isn't that game boring?
The older ones, I mean, they're all really old, but like the older ones, a little more fun and a little more interesting and a little less repetitive and dull. He is currently, I think the subtitle is World at War.
Oh, that's an old one.
They're all old. But yeah,
Well, I know, but
he'll have to stop playing for all of 5 minutes and get his ass down here.
Vanessa, you you took off all of the charms and all that old food. Can I see some of it? I know that you undid the things and made all the food gross.
Sure, quoth Finestra.
I'm gonna take out one of the. It's one of the ho-ohs, or either the ho-ohs or the little. What's the little Debbie one that's the log? The best one. Little Debbie logs that have chocolate and then have cream.
I think Ho-Ho is correct. I don't know. I haven't really...
No. They're the loggy ones. Amber knows what I'm talking about.
What?
Amber, what are the little Debbie snacks with the chocolate and it's wrapped around and there's cream in the middle? It's got like a little swirl.
The devil's rolls or something like that?
They're like, no, they are devil's food. That's what they are. But they're called
Swiss rolls.
They're called Swiss rolls.
Ah.
Swiss rolls, yeah.
She takes out a Swiss roll and offers her a Swiss roll. No, that it doesn't have demon things in it.
I appreciate that. This is remarkably well preserved. She lifts it up and sniffs the wrapper. That's why I smell that all over the both of you.
Yeah.
You got this out of the abyss.
Kind of like a place in the abyss where everything goes to die.
Not where everything goes to die.
Like
Everything
a
kind of
disappearing
goes to the abyss to die, period, regardless. You went where forgotten things get left.
I mean, we found Amelia Earhart's plane.
Yeah.
That's what she says. We found her plane. It's real big. It's still got an engine in it.
Sure you did. Fascinating as well, and I'll have to bug you about that later. On the subject of those minis, first, we'll address the people I know. No offense.
Oh, sorry. I was just offering with something I had.
Winston, get your ass down here. She says that in a calm, laissez-faire kind of voice, but the delivery echoes and gets louder and louder and angrier as it echoes up the cavern. Before you
Stop.
swear you hear the sound of some large and heavy electrical arc, something fry and break. I'm on my way. Sounds calm, sounds like it's next to you, but it echoes down with a level of loudness
I don't like that.
and
It's
calm
kind of scary.
annoyance that is hard to miss. And as he responds, that weaking in the background does slowly pick back up.
Would you like a Twinkie as well? She pulls out a Twinkie. I don't know what these are, but they do look tasty.
I know what they are. I appreciate the offer. Trying to watch my figure, sticking to a mostly venison diet when I'm not indulging myself.
Would you like them anyway so you can have them in your pantry for when you want them?
Certainly. And on the subject of Twinkies, a couple of nearby villages, for some reason, think that sacrificing a couple of, well, twinks, I should say, to the mountains is supposed to help their weather. I just give them a couple of ancient things and send them on their way and make them forget that we're even here.
Right. Do you want me to ask Angel's kids to handle it?
I taught her kids to also turn the poor boys around. This high up in the mountains, you're always going to find small communities that are superstitious and messy. And as she's just talking about this in a mild, like, I'm so fucking tired of this kind of tone, eventually making his way down, sort of brilliant, sort of rose pearlescent hair, and this sort of steady, almost like layered, but highly smoothed, like shale amsonite deposit type scales that just kind of roll down his form as he is completely wrapped up in full lumberjack plaid, rolled up sleeves, completely unbuttoned shirt, fully exposed, abs and everything, and then just pajama bottoms. And
Wow.
torn up, looks like electrically burned recently. Shark slippers. What did you need, my love? Oh, hey, Venestra, how are you doing? How's Mira doing? Are those new minis? Oh, God. in a flash of motion where you don't see his feet leave the ground, it's just, he's right in front of them.
Violet's gonna use her spray of mend and it just manifests. It's Piper's gift to Violet for her birthday.
You spray it on, and the slippers stitch themselves together and the burn marks recede. He's not noticing, he's just staring at the kit of small little statuettes in front of him. Pre-released editions, really? So you're not putting these into the cycle yet. Are you looking for like a pre-review, see if you need any adjustments, or are you just being nice?
He said, doing well, and yes, they're pre-release special editions too. You gotta read what Vanestra's saying.
Yes,
yeah, but you're the one who's supposed to read that aloud.
Yes, V smiles saying yes to both.
Yes to both.
Vanestra, Violet also has a question because Vanestra also got the Switch and those game systems fixed. So she's like, how do you make this work? By any chance? She has a Switch. They found
magic.
I'm going to roll for her impulse control.
Magic.
It's a disadvantage considering it's the nature of her hoard.
Mm-hmm.
Her high was a 19 plus all of her modifiers. Her low was a 2 plus all of her modifiers, so she still passes. She would have to roll a natural 1 to fuck that up. But you can see her reach over and just stop herself. I have 8 charging cables. Let me finish my cocoa. You can follow me. We can plug that in, and we can discuss you and your boy toy's problem.
Oh my god. She's just like...
Boy toy? You take it or you leave the cave.
They're in trouble. That sounds like...
The magic that's on you both smells demonic and divine, which means, most likely, a god sent one of my kin down to both of you, and, still sent it down to the abyss, so we're gonna go.
I got cursed by a hag at age 12. 11?
That I don't know if I can strictly resolve. You may have to track down that hag.
No, I know, but the curse is gone.
Oh.
But I still do the shifting thing.
She knocks down this 16-ounce glass of hot chocolate, like knocking back a shot glass.
Oh, that's... Violet's like, that's terrifying. Mentally. Fascinating. So I lived in the abyss for
Right.
400 years.
Look. We'll get to that. Follow me.
Follows her with the switch in hand like a little child.
You go up a good 4 flights of stairs, and then turn down about 3 sets of winding halls that have been carved into the cave rock before you get to what has been promptly dubbed just the Nintendo room.
Is it room? Is it room?
It is a room. There are specific sections with shelves devoted to old consoles, whether that be the Super Nintendo scaling up, and it's also strictly inventoried, which also has check marks next to it to say if Winston took it or if she took it. And
so they can find where it is.
So they can find where it is, where it's been plugged in, everything. There are massive racks of tons of controllers for each of these systems. There is the smallest section here, oddly enough, the GameCube and the GameCube attachments. There's those.
We have one of those.
In recent actual history, especially with the GameCube attachments, have gotten oddly rare, but...
Oh no, we have like a million. But when we went into the Abyss, we had like a whole bunch of GameCube stuff and Wii stuff that we found in those rooms. She
stops and looks like she's almost stopped herself from tripping, even though she's not got anything in front of her to trip over. She closes her eyes, has her chin to her chest, just takes a deep breath as if trying to recover from something unseen that has struck her. Say that again?
We found, she pulls out her bag. I put them in here, but I knew that they were electronic, so they had to be wrapped in blankets, because I wasn't going to let them fall and get rustles in my bag.
Cool, so what do you need fixed if you give me everything in that bag?
I can't give you everything in that bag, because I owe Griffin something too.
Who's this Griffin? Because I can kill him for you.
No, you can't kill Griffin. He's special. He's like an older brother.
Special as in like grandiose, or special as in like kind of slow?
Special as in he keeps Superman comics from first editions that are wrapped in plastic.
You watch the eyes start to dilate, and you practically see the gears turning. That must be saying who I'm going to rob soon.
Who I'm going to befriend and bribe as much as I can till I get what I want. Did you ever think about asking the original Skags for their things? He has a whole bunch of broken parts in there.
I've tried. There is this whole thing, however, that's been going on for the last 2 centuries, that basically says, hey, the dragons have been missing, as far as common knowledge. Now, that said, the gate to Ormar recently opened a couple of times, a few times, actually, in the last 2 years. I can smell it.
Vanessa said, Ebony, we can go there and pick things out.
Yeah. I can take you down to the lair. You know where it is. We just can't go into the hotel because the hotel's crazy.
I'm not too keen on visiting the Abyss, given the smell of one of my kin's corpses all over your essence. It also reeks of it. So, little bit, hesitant's the right word, I guess.
She pulls out the Wii case first.
Okay, let's just, you need help with something, that much is obvious. Namely, stripping you and your boy toy, I'm a paladin, right, whatever, of corruption. What are you willing to exchange me for that, right here and now?
Parentheses, but an entire Pokemon store.
We got all of the Pokemon cards back.
I'm trying to stay focused here.
Well, we also got memorabilia from different things like Final Fantasy, whatever that is. I'm gonna tell you it's the same, so because Switch one has it in there.
So that I don't have a stroke from excitement, which would be devastating for this entire environment, mind you. Just start pulling things out of the bag.
In parentheses, we also got a naked Asterian statue.
As she does the meditative inhale, exhale, shards of amethyst fly out of her mouth and nose and embed themselves in the wall just like barely a centimeter next to you. Okay. Just look. Stop teasing me and just start taking things out of the bag. It'll be a smoother transaction. And I won't think you're holding out on me.
Violet pulls out one of the Wii's because they have two, so she's saving a black one for Griffin, and she thought this woman would like the original white version. Still in the box. She still has it from the box.
Great. What else?
So one thing. Couldn't wait to see it. Looks over at Elsie and can't turn the bag upside down or break it. I need your help.
Right. Just tell me what to think about, and I'll grab it, because again, I barely know what half of these fucking things are.
Can you get out all of those really shiny card thingies? I picked up. And put in those big boxes?
Yeah, I can do that.
The long ones? I'm gonna get one of the signed copies of the Lord of the Rings.
Meanwhile, Winston is still just geeking out over the figurines. Sorry. Heard you guys mention it. Statue? What again? I need to re-establish that I heard that correctly.
There's a bunch of figures. We got some from this store that was kind of like, and we emptied the whole thing.
What store?
It was a store down in the abyss. Like where forgotten things are. One of those movies and plus stores. People sell their things. This is what I was told.
This is largely my wife's bargain. So she's asking for a number of things to help you with your affliction. What's the most, just quantitatively, of whatever you have in that bag that you'd be willing to surrender?
Well, it'd be like, I got half and half. Made sure I got two of everything, so I could give one to Griffin and I bargained with him. But I made sure I kept the wrapped things separate from things that had been opened.
You know what? She's asking for specifics. How about this? I'll just broadly sweeten the deal here. She looks over at him as if he's about to shoot a dog, and she's trying to make sure he's not about to do something foolish. What are you on about? Half of everything in the bag. Everything.
Can't take half the plane or half of the chest because it doesn't belong to me.
Okay, half of everything that can be reasonably halved, obviously. And she'll cure you of your affliction.
Okay.
And I'll get everybody in here a nice draconic boon.
What magic do you do?
Hmm?
She pulls out the broken caravan. That's a mimic that carries creatures.
Interesting. Not really either of our purviews.
Okay, she puts it back in the bag.
Cool. Not nostalgic enough.
She pulls out the magic cards that. She also lets Venestra help her pull things out because she's like, I don't know, we just stuffed everything in the bag, like everything that's sealed, like there's a whole collection of Star Wars actual VHS tapes from the original like box thing that are like sealed and wrapped, like because that was what you said that was in there. There was one Lord of the Rings that was signed.
By the way, I know we're not even close to ending yet, but I already have a title.
Yes.
Fused word, Dragonostalgia.
Okay, so in parentheses, Vanessa put Sailor Moon quotation wand.
Yeah, there was a Sailor Moon one.
Which, by the way, as he's ventured out, you can see that there are some tattoos actually along his arm that are kind of over the pearl plating, but the texture on them, you can already tell just by the way it seems to be kind of peeling up. Temporary tattoos. Mostly for those players here, Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters.
We have some of those. Looks over at Halcyon. The Yu-Gi-Oh stuff.
Yes, we do. You did say half of everything that could be reasonably halved in the bag. Does that include the Yu-Gi-Oh stuff?
I'm not giving him the I'll give him the staff and everything else, but I'm not giving him that thing.
Well, there was this one thing that was sealed in a case in there that I grabbed. It was called a Deck Master.
Oh yeah, we have one of those. We only have one though. So
He looks, his eyes narrowing into those draconic slits. Would the skag be too remiss if he never knew you even had it?
which ones are his favorites? You're the one that talks to him more about it. He looks over at Halcyon. Is it magic or Yu-Gi-Oh?
Magic, and pretty much anything Wizards of the brand name drop, hey!
So we're gonna go ahead and give him the magic cards, and then because the only thing that I want is the triangle thing. He can have the eye and the staff and that, right? All the replicas.
Yeah, we actually have 8 Millennium Puzzle replicas, whatever those are.
Yeah, I want the one that opens.
One of them was actually made of actual metal, gold-plated.
That's the one I want. The one that opens. It's an actual puzzle. That's angels. Angels, thank you. Because I want her to dress up as Yugi because she's short.
I'm sorry. You mentioned you have a metal Millennium Puzzle replica that's actually a puzzle.
Yes, we do.
And you have it on reserve for someone.
I have it on reserve for a goddess.
Nothing could persuade you to relinquish your possession of that object.
You're making Mr. Help us. Help. There's another metal one, Halcyon, in there.
Right,
There
but
should be
that one's not gold-plated. That one's just silvered.
No, but it's made of silver.
True.
The other one's gold-plated.
We'll make you a
With silver underneath.
duplicate.
Vanessa said, we'll make you a duplicate. Oh my god. Oh wait, that was really...
A duplicate isn't the same as the real thing.
They'll make me a duplicate. How about that? That work for you?
Persuasion check with advantage because of Vanessa's assistance.
Ooh. 18. The persuasion is great. But it's a +3. It says a 21.
21. Means you'll have to hold on to it for a while.
I have 2 copies of the 5 Pieces of Exodia, though.
Okay, you can make yourself a duplicate. As long as you give me the original.
Okay.
Right. Now, what was that I said about a draconic boon?
Looks over at Halcyon.
I'll let her cure your mess first. There.
Let me put it to you this way. I've never tried any of this stuff, and I have a skag at home who kept me alive for 2 years.
Right, I understand that. I'll let her cure your things first, and then we'll get to the draconic boon. Now, are there any games in there among the previously negotiated half of everything in the bag?
I'm not handing over Eternal Darkness, so you're asked right now.
I said games. I didn't mention a specific one, but now that you've said you're not going to hand over something, you've made me want it.
I know.
You know how dealing with dragons works, right?
I get it. You're gonna have to fight the skag for it. Good
Skag
luck.
will die.
No. No. 20,000-year-old skag with chronomancy, would be careful.
20,000. Oh. Interesting. So you're saying he is about as old as most of the things we've collected, too.
Yes.
Oh no.
Good to
Is
know.
Griffin about to be hoarded?
I don't know, you can try.
Be hoarded.
I mean,
Could they summon him from the ether? I know that if she searches it on her laptop, and that's part of her magic, she can just pull things out of the ether, knowing where things are.
even still, it's the dichotomy between online shopping and, hey, it's right here.
Maybe we should have brought Griffin.
Of course, plot twist. It's actually connected to the actual internet. It's just time-traveling internet. And now we know who price gouged all those PS5s.
So... we also have some other memorabilia. There's some Doctor Who stuff in there.
While he's looking fascinated, suddenly he's just flash, like, pick your anime abridged, just shoved to the side, fucking trash bag transition wiped out of the way by his wife. Doctor Who, you said?
Oh, I have plenty of memorabilia. We have Rose's costume. Because we had in the store, they were selling all the old costumes. Were on
Really?
display.
Fascinating.
Pulled all of them out of the bag. Oh, plenty of stuff in here.
Okay, look. Mentioning all these things, it's a little distracting. I'm supposed to be helping you, and then you help me by giving me those things. Look, let's just... Okay. First of all, I was going to show you how this thing works, and she plugs in the switch. As we finally get to that.
So that's what this thing does. She pulls out the cord. So that's what this is for.
Yeah.
Cool.
Although it was, honestly, as far as design choices go in the ancient human world, I don't know if you knew this, they were all oddly sexually charged. This was considered a male jack and a female port.
Yet, Griffin made that quite clear. He was yelling at us that we needed to be a jackport or something like that when we were talking to each other.
Must make an audience of this, Griffin. Anyway, also, on the subject of, sorry, gotta heal you up. Right. Okay. Don't hyperventilate. We melted the floor last time we hyperventilated. Okay.
How much you'll get to keep it. so just stay calm.
Come, step off into my doctor's office. Well, let me clarify. Doctor's
Trying to
office.
calm herself down.
Doctor's office, not the nurse's office. That was also stuff that we bought from that lovely pair. Doctor's office is actual ancient medical equipment. It's not strictly necessary for this, but I like to integrate things.
Yes.
So,
Walks in there.
you enter in. It is... As you enter in, you feel yourself pass through a slight magical barrier that enters into a bit of a demiplane. And you were entered into a chamber that is just above basically what would be sort of a live surgery room. Where, there's those viewing bays right above an operating table. Okay, so you and your... Sorry, what's his name? You all have excited me enough that I want to learn your names. You are...
I'm Violet Evergreen.
Violet Evergreen, fantastic. And your name... Halcyon. Your last name? We'll stick with Halcyon.
He doesn't like his last name.
Fair enough. Anyway, let's get down to the examination table, shall we? You all get down there, and she pulls out a number of different implements, whether it be... She pulls out a shitload of doctor's implements, and I'm going to roll to see if she actually knows what they do, or if this is just a dragon trying to guess.
Oh, I'm going to let you know. Violet would point it out because she does know medicine from all the vomit.
It's a 17. Plus all of her insane modifiers, so yeah, she knows. Okay. So, as far as both of your issues, you have an amulet. That can be resolved. We're going to get to you after her, because you're the more concerning one with your brain. Now, one thing that we have down here as she drags her foot across the floor, and then lifting up from the floor is a massive CAT scanning machine. These usually operated off of something called laser imaging, and usually output a decent bit of radiation to get that imaging properly done. Now, radiation, shocking thing, remarkably harmful to mortal beings. So I took the liberty of supplementing most of that function with magic.
That's amazing.
Still accomplishes the same thing with a little more motion involved. So she puts on some... While she has strictly no reason to do this, because this is not an invasive procedure in the slightest, at least this part, she still puts on surgical gloves. I would like you to lay on the table.
Okay.
Lay your head on that cushion. Okay. Scoot back a little bit, get your head straightened out. There we go. And she, dragon strength, roughly pulls you into the exact place. Now I need you to keep incredibly still. Try not to move and keep your eyes closed. These are still very bright lasers, and I don't want to temporarily blind you.
She does as she's told. Does that mean Violet's not gonna move?
And as that classic mechanical whirring from a CAT scan machine starts up, there is that distinct crystalline ringing that joins that sound. It makes it almost meditative, and it makes it, given what you are, almost hard not to fall asleep to it.
Yeah, she's like, no, sleepy sounds nice.
And as you are pulled in and out of the machine for a series of scans... Okay, you can lift your head up.
Okay.
Machine's off. I want you to come over here and take a look.
Okay. Goes over there.
She walks you over, and you come up to a computer screen, which itself is traced with runes, again, to sort of allow for some level of reinforcement and interactivity with the magically augmented machine. And you see a series of pretty typical CAT scan brain scans, except she's not moving between different images. She's pushing her finger through the screen and then recedes through different layers of the brain actively. And you can see neurons continuing to fire in the image.
Fascinating.
No, here's the issue. So there's your brain. And then if we were to pull out here, you see a crystalline structure wrapped around it, each sort of jutted, geometric, hard-lined crystalline structure itself in sort of mimicry of the patterning of a brain, almost magically interconnected, wrapped around and woven through your brain in this imagery. That is what you've joined with. Pretty familiar, I'd say.
Yeah.
And then, given where you were, this is the problem. And she zooms into the crystalline structure, and you zoom into neurons, which seem like almost like joined lattices, less than actual neuron structures. And you can see where they are fraying, burning, and there's something tendrillous and fiery that seems to be arcing between each and every one, and it's purple and it's wrong, and it's growing dark in spots and then light in spots, rapidly, inconsistently, and painfully. And the moment that you're actually paying attention to it, you feel like the inside of your brain is starting to itch. And it's an itch that you can't reach. And it's getting worse by the second. That, an unfortunate side effect of whichever god decided to drop one of my kin down there to help you, it's the abyss. Gods have been corrupted by the abyss. It's
Well,
happened.
one half of the brain got left behind.
Right. So, but of course, when the brain joins, it doesn't just mean that half gets messed up. You know, it's like it's like pouring a cup of water into a jug. It's gonna mix. It's gonna mix with whatever else is still in there. So, with that, I gotta do some purification.
I don't care if it hurts. I can handle pain.
It's gonna hurt you a little bit, and it's gonna hurt me a lot. But that's okay. I've been old and alive for a long time. And you know what? A week of making Winston take care of me is totally fine in my book.
Can I offer you some gut coffee?
Not that kind of recovery.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just gonna offer you some in case you needed it.
So, at least there's a method there for what I'm planning on doing. Now, that said, you were told to find me, I'm sure. Yes. Were you told to find anything specific that I could give you?
No.
No. Okay, so left it in my hands. Smart god. Which god did this, by the way? The dragon thing?
Marphus.
Marphus. Damn it, I'm not allowed to be pissed. Okay. Crystal Dragon, he's our patron god. What can I do? Okay. So, this is the part that is going to suck. More for me than it is for you.
Why?
Okay. So, the way that draconic enhancements that turn mortals into dragonborn, there's a couple of ways that can happen, right? Some people are born as dragonborn, but the way people get turned into dragonborn, what do they usually have to be by?
I was by a dead body. Or not dead body yet.
Yeah.
It was dying.
Be by a dying dragon. We have to do something close to that. Close to it. Because again, it's not like I'm giving you my essence and turning you into a dragonborn. I'm healing you, so I have to get very, very close to death. And then, well, this part will have to be done by you. So these are defibrillators. They no longer work on electricity. They work on just raw magic, as you can see. And she pulls them up, and there have just been amethyst crystals jammed into the surfaces of them. You rub these together, kind of like...
I know how they work.
Okay, yeah. When you see my heart, stop beating, and you're going to see it stop beating. I'm going to need you to slam my chest with those.
I brought the heart with me.
Do we need to clean that up too?
We brought everything.
Cool. Okay, so just lay it out, because that'll make this a whole lot easier.
There's something weird about the heart part, though.
I'm sure it was all in the abyss.
No, it still slightly does the sound.
Explains why you're able to join with the brain. She's not entirely dead, and her soul is kind of joined with yours, I think. Sort of a,
So this will shift me further into it?
Sort of. I've got a running theory, but we'll get to that once you're cleaned up, because I'll be able to get a cleaner look at you.
Okay.
By the way, is your boy toy in here? Where's he at? I'm right here. I've been right here the whole time. Right, sorry. I'm blind for people that aren't strictly draconic. It's not on purpose. Took me a few.
Kind of how it works.
Okay, so rather than get you worried and stressed out and freaked out about what's going to happen, I'm just going to do it so that in the shock, you just do what I told you to do, which is when you see my heart stop beating, hit me with those, okay? First of all, I don't want to tear this shirt. I like this shirt. You fine with seeing a dragon naked for a minute?
Yeah, we
Cool.
killed dragons before.
She quickly strips down. It's completely nude. Okay, now we need to get to the bigger version of the surgery room. She snaps her fingers and it expands. Gotta get into full dragon form, sorry. And she... full draconic body, ancient. Her head is bigger than you by itself. Okay, now the fun part.
Okay.
I'm trying to be sarcastic here. She takes her talons, drags them down her sternum, and breaks open her chest cavity. As amethyst blood starts to spill out all over the floor, and you can see her heart starting to race from the stress. As her heart starts to race from the stress, you can see amethyst magic, very similar to what you experienced when you were bonding with that dragon at that time, beginning to race out and enrapture you. And I'm going to roll a Constitution saving throw for her really quick, because this is rough. Okay. Alright, we're almost... And she collapses to the floor, and you can see the heart fluttering, straining, spewing blood and bodily fluids. There's blood pouring from her mouth and nose. But she's got just this focused look on her face, mixed with pain. It's a lot to be suddenly happening. And then you see, as suddenly you feel like your head clears of like a massive head cold that you didn't know you had.
Is that where the anger spikes the most?
The anger seems like its own complication. The head cold was a more gradual and recent sensation after getting the rest of the brain and everything else. And you see that heart in the chest, no longer beating. And that final exhale.
2, 1. And she shocks down on the pedals, knowing exactly.
Medicine check with advantage because she set this up for you.
What did I just fucking miss? All I had to do was take a shit.
In that time, the amethyst dragon that you guys
The
came to meet
natural
ripped her chest
tornado.
open
It was a
to
natural
go ahead and
20 for
cure the
Violet.
corrupting magics on Violet and Halcyon's shit.
I swear she's gonna roll on that one that I'm the next
Natural
time
20, you
that
said?
Yes.
as it blasts into her chest, you see runes light up on the D5 that, at least as far as the brief time that you've spent with Nick, time magic. Chronomancy runes all over the D5 as her chest closes, stitches up. All right, now we just need to do the okay, there's blood already on the floor. I already did it, didn't I? How you feeling?
Still some instinct rage, but I don't know where it's coming from.
I'm feeling like an echo of pain a little bit from doing that. That's a lot of blood. That I now have regenerated, but that's still on the floor. That's not usually supposed to still be on the floor. You can take that if you want to. I'm sure you'll find a use for it. Whew, my chest hurts. Whew, okay. And there's the dizziness that I was completely expecting. I'm not going to be able to drop down into human form for about a week. Okay.
Thought I may be able to help you.
Oh, well, that's what Winston's for.
Year we collect the blood, absolutely.
Yeah, totally understandable.
Violet pulls out a jar that Angel gave her.
I'm going to want the things.
Oh, wait. She offers a fruit of a tree.
I appreciate that.
It's a healing item. I don't know what it does.
Right.
Angels.
We'll try it out, and if it'll accelerate this, great. I'm not going to try anything right now and immediately without first safe environment and a sterile environment, especially given the pool of me all over the floor. Okay. I'm gonna walk over to my hoard to lay down. I'm gonna suggest you follow me. I'm gonna watch how you walk to make sure that you're all cleaned up. And then I can look over the heart and all of that. She lays down. I wish I could shrink down to my human size right now because there's so many squishmallows that I have in this hoard that I would love to hold, but now they're a little bit, they're barely a pillow, and I can't play video games at this size, so
She
that's
looks at
okay.
Vanessa. Do you have the jar of pink water that we took with us today? Took with us as a countermeasure? But it was only a countermeasure. Kept in the copper box so it didn't get tainted.
What was the question, Megan?
If she has the jar of pink water that was handed to her. Everybody was given a jar of pink water as a countermeasure for the abyss.
Yes, I do.
Can I have that, please?
Pink water from Vanessa. Okay, not a great time to test an aphrodisiac, though. I am flattered.
It's not an aphrodisiac.
V would get the item out of her storage and hand it to Violet.
Violet opens it up and hands her the bulb. And PM.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Winston, I did the thing. Which thing?
PM.
The chest thing. God damn it, there goes my week.
PM.
Yep.
We had a bulb with us that we got from the trees, and we got another set of bulbs when we went back to the forest through the forest near Merkest.
The redwood
second
bulbs?
time around.
Yeah.
And this one has been sitting in a fermenting gem like substance
Mm-hmm.
to keep it like a jam or a jelly that they can to keep it alive, kind of.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how those would settle. Because we had one left of the white bulbs and we used those with a strat. We have the red bulbs that get rid of big fish. The second time around we got a second boon.
Right. I'll try it.
And this is the waters of Samaril. You'd have gone outside, you'd feel just fine.
Right. I'm healed.
I know, just trust me.
It's a magical exertion kind of thing.
I get that, and this is magical water.
Okay, I'll try it. And this is with the bulb suspended in there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. High or low?
Oh god. You make me do this, man. I got a low.
You see her relax a little bit. Not necessarily brighten up, but relax. Okay. That'll help with the anxiety episode that usually happens after I do that. That'll help a lot. So, as far as what's going on with you and the heart and the dragon that's bound to you, she is still alive, mostly. Her life force is now your life force, and your life force is now hers.
And why wouldn't it join into the body?
Well, now that everything's been fixed, I want you to set the parts on the floor.
Okay. She does exactly as she's told.
Probably the better place to do it since it's in an amethyst dragon's hoard. As you set them down, suddenly it looks like they all almost shatter down into countless small amethyst gemstones. And then in almost fluid motion, they all start to rise up and swirl around you. Swirl around so quickly that it feels like the air is getting thin. Like it's hard to breathe. You feel your mouth hang open just from that initial panicked moment of struggle before all of the shards fly down your throat. It feels rough, it feels painful, it feels invasive, before in that same moment, your chest burns. Floods with power and magic. That common sensation of dragon's breath, as instinctively you feel it loose. Blasting out of you. And in that moment you see a specter of the same dragon you saw dead next to you in the abyss, staring down at you. Its essence being held aloft through your mouth, through your pores, extended out of you. She is part of you, and you are part of her. Because you are still an elf, at your baseline you won't be fully dragon, nor will she be fully elf, but you can sort of walk a line between the two that's really unique and incredible in terms of spiritual bonding as far as that's concerned. At a moment as you suck, just naturally on inhaling, the spirit re-entering your body. Pull out your wings. As you pull them out, there's the physical wings, and then they extend outward an additional 4 feet on either side as an almost spectral extension in amethyst form. Show me your claws.
Shit, you do?
Show me your claws.
She takes off her dress because she'll break the dress. This is a really nice dress. She just got this really nice dress. She doesn't want to renew it. She shifts out of the dress after.
As you shift in this moment, you don't take on that canine appearance. You stay yourself, except spectrally. There's an extension like a dragon's body over you. And there's still that fur still trying to poke through. You reach out your claws, and there's an extension of a spectral dragon's talon reaching over your own hand as your tail whips out, a full ancient dragon's tail whipping out an extension. Mechanically speaking, for what has happened, when you shift into your bestial form, when you rage, you have the option to do your canine form. You also have the option to do what is called your spectral dragon form. These are two visual options, depending on what level of subterfuge or integration you want to deal with. The dog form is obviously more intimidating. The dragon form can be more intimidating as well. It depends on the crowd you're working with. So there's the option there. Second of all,
I can't understand what Vanestra's trying to say.
Okay, hold on.
It's like I've been sitting here, I was like, what are you saying?
additionally, when you rage...
Find familiar.
Ah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Amira, as a familiar, is going to try find familiar? Sure, we'll get to that. That's fun. But to continue the sort of little evolution cutscene here. Additionally, mechanically speaking, what it means, aside from just the visual choice of what you become, which again, you can choose basically Draconic Spirit or the Canine Beast, or, well, sorry, in either case, as this will apply to both, your size category now increases from, I believe you increased to large, right? When you transform initially. Mm-hmm. You now increase to huge, which means you get an additional 5 foot of reach on top of that, additional AC bump, and an additional damage bump there, as well as incredibly increased carrying capacity when you shift into rage. Another thing. Are you writing this down?
No. I'm staring at you in shock.
Okay.
We're gonna have to go do this with me later.
An amount of times equal to your Constitution modifier. Okay. You can add an Amethyst Shard Breath to any melee attack you make when enraged.
Really?
Now it's again at the level that's achievable given your class levels, but yes.
Oh my god!
And that's not you breathing it out. That's you hit somebody and then cascading out of that fist, for example, is a shitload of amethyst shards that seem like astrally a dragon's head has formed on the edge of your hand and hurled them out.
In parentheses, Vanestra says, sure can do such, though Amira was more musing on if the second soul could have a body created as it's similar to what her and V are like in her mind.
Second body may be something to look into for later, but it would, in doing that, it would separate those bonuses and those boons into a separate entity rather than on Violet herself. So,
what about treating it like Like, grimace.
Maybe. So, there's that part. Which... There's the size category increase to huge. There's the Dragon's Breath per Constitution modifier melee attack. Additionally, what is your Constitution score right now?
+9.
+9?
Hold on. +11.
+11. For your saving
Yeah.
throw or just your score?
No, this is my normal score.
Okay.
Oh, wait, let's see if it's my saves. Can I see my top of my sheet, please? Not in the saves. Is it in the abilities, saves, and senses?
It is at the top at your ability score rating, so like your strength score, your dexterity score, it's very top. The big numbers.
My constitution is a +5 right now,
Okay.
but my saving throw is a +11.
+5. So what's the number? That means your constitution's 20, I'm guessing?
Mm-hmm.
I need you to modify that and set it to 26.
Okay.
As in joining with the Amethyst Dragon's life force, you've also gained some of that bolstering durability therein.
I don't change it.
I can adjust it manually later if need be.
Please do. I can't. It won't let me do it. And then use cheats right now. She looks over it. Astra.
Oh, sorry.
Can I just
One more
become-
thing. This is a bit where it's modifying a core class feature. Every time you rage, you have a choice to instead say, and this will use a rage as a resource, I choose to become serene.
Oh,
This will increase your armor class by 2. Will do so for any ally within 30 feet of you. And also provide a calming presence.
I'm messaging in this chat, Amber, so I can put everything in here. I got another corpse.
Okay, sorry. My head is just hurting so bad. My brain's like, did I miss something important?
Do you have any medication?
I already took some sinus medication that had acetaminophen in it. I don't want to take too much.
Do you have a turn at the house?
Excedrin has acetaminophen in it.
Yes, I understand that, but another 2 hours, take one.
As a note for Become Serene as well. While you are under Serene specifically instead of Rage, you become completely immune to charm effects. While under that effect.
Oh, it was alright.
If you are, then that's a bit of redundancy, but that's what I wrote down. I can adjust that later. Homebrew abilities are finicky.
So I look over at Halcyon. Do I look any different? Is it too different?
You look very close to the same, except your eyes are very different. He holds up his shield. Your eyes, which usually have sort of that normal elven iris with that bit of a draconic slit, have become just full dragon amethyst eyes. There are no whites to your eyes anymore. It is just full amethyst magic with that slit in the middle, with those intense sort of layerings of magic that you've seen on it. Let me pull up a reference here.
He's also gonna decide to polymorph her eyes then. He will have to take any type of colors area.
Yeah. There we go. Let's do session art. That's an easy enough reference to pull up. That's basically what your eyes turn into.
Pretty.
I don't know if that makes me more intimidating or less intimidating. She says, looking at Halcyon. I don't know if that makes me more intimidating or not.
It makes you intimidatingly beautiful, but I like you, so that's the difference.
I wish I could turn into you. I naturally have heterochromia, but inner eye heterochromia.
Do you try to focus on that? As you do so, the other color you had, which I believe was blue, am I correct?
Yeah, she had blue and green.
Yeah. You get that blue and green same draconic eye where there's no whites to your eyes, but you get that blue and green in your other eye. In a draconic-like visual. Kind of like, actually, kind of like this, is there's... There.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for. Let's incorporate all three colors into her eyes. Which was
There's a brick.
Brick!
Ow, my back.
That's interesting.
It's just another brick in the wall.
Look for her, then comes back to the full child, like full normal form of the elf.
As you drop into that elven form, you notice, even still looking at the reflection in Halcyon's shield, it's distorted, there's some curve there. But you note that your features are sharper than normal. You stand straighter. There's more tone in your muscles. As you can tell, even your scales have kind of gone up your face a little bit to almost accentuate the bone structure on your face.
Interesting.
And crown along the center of your head.
Like angels.
A little bit more widespread than hers, actually.
Her and Nicodemus almost look like a scaleless dragon.
Oh, one more note as well that I should write in here. When you rage, specifically, depending on which physical form you take, you may change your creature type. Change your creature type to, whoop, I just broke my pencil tip.
Yeah. Good leader.
You may change your creature type to monstrosity for the beast and dog form, or dragon.
Amber's like, life sucks right now.
I'm sorry, the pencil scrape didn't help, I'm sure.
I didn't hear a pencil scrape.
Turn the light off,
And I'm sorry, that is dragon or beast, not monstrosity.
If I turned the light off, you guys would not be able to see me at all. I'm in my bedroom.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Oh, it's fine. That way you can relax in the dark.
I will fall asleep, Megan.
Okay, Abby.
I did like an hour's worth of walking. My legs hurt.
As far as Halcyon's benefit for wearing the amulet, he got the normal aforementioned benefits from what it was supposed to do when it was enchanted, so. As he just got an amulet, he didn't get, a dragon organ in his body.
She looks over at Halcyon. Feel better?
I do. To you.
You didn't break your rules.
I didn't what?
That was the thing about the necklaces, is that if you kept it on, it would break your oath. You could take it off or break your oath. It was one of those weird things for you.
Weird. It's a fascinating place, but I feel like we're imposing.
I love this place. We overthink. And I feel like I should have brought Piper, because Piper could have healed me. Piper should have already been asleep, right?
Piper's at home, is back at the house, trancing.
Every fae can be summoned into a space with like some type of thing. If it's water.
Okay. Do you want to try to summon Piper?
How do we summon Piper?
I don't know.
So, Piper, you are a burgeoning Archfey, not quite at an Archfey stage yet. Once you reach an Archfey stage, which involves, taking on warlocks and what have you, you'll be able to just say yes or no to a summon. Unless a bunch of cultists get together and do it as a ritual. When there's more than one person involved, you roll saving throw.
An extra offering some coffee and medical equipment.
Yeah, essentially.
Just whisper into the air.
As far as just summoning you individually as you are still Fae, as long as someone has your true name, which I'm fairly certain
Violet is going to use your true name to summon you into space.
Roll me a charisma saving throw as you are currently in your trance, and then you feel like someone is currently using and abusing your name to pull you across the fabric of existence.
Hold on, let's see.
Throughout your life, no one has dared have the balls to do this because it hurts.
Why did I just roll a random d20? Jesus Christ. Well, it didn't do any better anyway. That's a 14 total.
14.
Oh no.
Mid-trance. You get ripped through space-time. And now I'm going to allow you to roll me just a dexterity saving throw to basically see if, in the middle of getting pulled, you manage to make it look like you arrived gracefully, or if it looks like you just got thrown through a hotel doorway.
No, that is an 8. Total.
Yeah, you just got thrown out of the bar in the Wild West.
Oh, what in the 12 hells?
It's not 12, there's still 13 now.
No, I thought we got rid of that by killing the 13th devil.
And I gave it back to Elizabeth.
So it just became part of her, so still 12.
No, it's not 13. Now 13. The hunter took over part
It went
of
down to
hers.
12. She brought it up to 13 as she decided to rule 1. Tortoran Phantom, that kind of situation.
Okay. Anyway, what in the 13 hells? Who did that? And who gets their ass poked by Wilsoni?
Do you or do you not want to see old-fashioned equipment from the old days with medical equipment? Do you or do you not want to see it?
The massive, ancient amethyst dragon turns her head toward you. I would need permission. Asked for, at least, before I allowed any of that. Who is this fae that you've summoned into our cave?
Piper, you're the resident healer. Can you heal some exhaustion, please?
I mean, we haven't adjusted the Marquez coffee to not have the side effects yet.
Well, I know that, but we could work on I just need actual healing because
Am I not going to have my question answered? I can kill her right now.
she's a burgeoning archfey. I wouldn't do that considering she's friends with Wilsoni.
Who are you?
I'm Piper Puck. She's a friend of Violet's, is what Vanessa says.
Okay.
What's the story on Avery? He's just T-posing?
Avery is currently sleeping with his girlfriend and cuddling like a cute boy.
Cuddling specific.
This is on the same night.
Yeah, it is still
Still
middle
the
of the
night.
night.
Still nighttime.
Nice.
That was kind of the plan with the interim session.
So, can you help her with her exhaustion, considering that you do a lot of healing? And
I mean, I could heal exhaustion, something that, unless the divines intervene, I can do nothing about.
smells like exhaustion points, Joe.
I don't have any, that's what Piper's trying to say. But I could do channel divinity, preserve life, and restore 50 HP points to her.
I still have something I can use. Violet pulls out a blunt. He's gonna hate this. He's gonna hate it so much.
Hey, no smoking in my horde.
Trust me.
You brought me here just to smoke godweed afterwards? Are you serious?
Takes a full long whiff. Oh my god, I know I'm gonna see Maribus in the next second, but it's gonna suck so sincerely.
You swear you hear echoes of Bob Marley playing in the distance.
Is he now not sober?
Yeah.
Only to see Winston is actually just turning on a record player
Oh.
with vintage Bob Marley records on it. Don't you worry about a So... What the hell do y'all want? Barely high right now.
Barely.
Barely.
Wow.
I know.
I'm gonna have to send your bride some more wine.
Yeah.
Pulls out a bag of beads that she's been holding on to. Wait. This is for you to test out. Weed
What's
beans.
up? Weed beans?
Coffee beans. But weed.
But weed.
So they're baked beans.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Can I call them that? It gives you credit.
Yeah.
With a bag of baked beans. I just want to see how they work. How well they do. You're the best person to see how well they work.
He tosses one into his mouth. So these would knock a mortal on their ass.
Nice.
They're a nice little. Nullifier for me. So what's going on?
So this beautiful lady, as she turns around and just like halfway does the thing, considering me makes her goofy. This healed me, but she had almost died to do it. Can you help her, please? Because
Magical blowback from near death and correcting curse. That magical blowback is considered its own way kind of a curse. So I can do a divine removal of a curse.
Oh my god, I can do... Okay, I can reduce the target's exhaustion by 1. I have greater restoration. I thought I didn't have that one, but we need gold dust worth at least 100 GP.
I have gold dust. We can do that in a minute after these.
Or not
He
gold
blows
dust,
smoke in her face. No smoking in my... That's better. Yeah, I know. It's way better. So.
Vanessa, do you want to drag? You want to drag? It's called Puff Puff Pass. That's
No.
what the game's called.
No.
You're gonna
Come
refuse.
It's the best.
See?
Hey,
It's the best.
Holds.
we don't peer pressure drunk. Okay?
And by the way, this is not a blunt. This is a spliff. There's some divine tobacco mixed in with this.
Whoa. Isn't that the one that Pedro was working on?
Careful, we could cure the effects of being
Yeah.
high.
I mean, you could.
Please don't.
Sure.
I like Marifus. Don't! I like Marifus high! He's absolutely terrifying when he's sober. Please, for the love of the rest of the Pantheon, no!
It's just like his wife. When they're both sober, it's a horrible party.
Here's a joke that I just came up with.
Okay.
Ancient human god named Zeus.
Mm-hmm.
Probably just needed some leafy green. That's the joke.
I think he took way too many of the leafy greens with how many demigods he produced.
No, see, he chilled with the wine god too much.
Oh no. Weed can do the same, depending on the strain.
True.
What was Vanessa's?
They call that a stoner boner.
Theodemir would just deadpan stare at the people before looking at Ebony. You going to be okay?
Yeah, I'm going to be okay now. There's a god in front of me that's high. So I'm gonna have to deal with that. I can't really bow in this position.
Does anybody have diamond dust worth at least 100 GP? Because then I can actually reduce.
I'm letting you know that Violet hands it over. You start with that, and then I'll ask Marvis to remove the curse.
Okay, greater restoration, the lady.
As soon as you cast it on her. That's better. She drops straight down back into her human form. Again, at the moment, completely nude. Recovers her clothes and starts putting them back on.
You want some?
I can't really polymorph clothes, so that's kind of it.
She can't. She's like got. She still has the blunt. You want one, Mister?
No.
It's called Puff Puff Pass for a reason. You puff puff and you pass.
How about you puff puff and I pass it over here?
Pass it back to the god. Because Piper's like, hey.
Facts. So are you all good?
Can you just make sure there's no blowback so she can like not be? She worked really hard, okay?
You know, use of intensive magics has blowbacks, and on the subject of blowbacks, I gotta get back to something. That
Would you
involves
like
taking
to,
care of the stoner boner.
would you like to take some additional twists for use?
Right. You guys make things. Um. Do you have anything for sale for a very, very high, very powerful god? Who is currently making his wife incredibly impatient and would like to bring some preemptive apologetic gifts.
Hold on, Vanessa's probably typing.
Yeah, she is.
Yee. Fast for a reason.
We do have a wide range of items from chocolates and foods as well as clothing.
Chocolate would absolutely account for the munchies they're gonna hit. So
And booze would be good because she drinks everyone under the table.
I'll take however much of the chocolate and the foods you got. Just whatever
And
inventory you
booze.
have, I'll pay for it. And then as far as what do you mean by clothing? You know, let's make this easy.
Oh my god. The god glitched! The kind that is comfy to wear and lounge around in, and the sheer kind.
Right, okay, so I'll just say it in plain English. I'm very high, and I need to relax. My wife, notice the stoner boner, wants to make it relax, if you get what I mean. So, how much do I have to pay you to just clear your inventory that you have on you?
Trust me, they'll use it. They are busybodies.
We're gods, we're immutable, and you know what? If you've got more clothes of one kind than another, I can turn into Murphy for a bit. I'm a god. It's kind of mutability is kind of the whole thing.
Okay, give her a second. She's typing.
Of course, I'm saying Murphy, and Murphy's kind of already a name.
We took an entire store/warehouse worth of items, so what do you think is a reasonable amount? I feel like a few Velix Electrum would probably suffice.
Oh, I don't
That's
touch that shit. But.
That's just player, not character.
He reaches over to his side and rips out a big ass scale.
Wow.
Pretty sure you can, like, buy a temple with this. Or they can give you a lot of money for it. They'd be obligated. It would be considered a holy artifact from under my right pectoral.
It'll grow back tomorrow.
And typing again. Very well.
There's that. He casually hands it over, which, from the scale of a god, this single scale is taller than you, Benestra, and that's hard to do.
Oh god.
He's one of the biggest guys. He looks over at.
Venestra is typing. Ow,
Looks,
my elbow.
Viola looks over at Maripus.
So,
Me and Amir are 100% going to figure out a way to make said skill powers their own.
So, question.
yeah.
You asked me this
He opens the bag.
morning.
Whoa. There's some really perverted stuff in here. What's up?
So you asked me this morning if I wanted to work for you.
Yeah, I was being really serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have one condition.
People don't often catch me when I'm being serious, and when I'm being serious, I'm being like serious, you know.
Yeah, but this is a serious talk, and I don't think I'll have the energy to talk to you.
Do you want me to
otherwise.
sober everybody up?
No, please, and I will be
Because
able to talk
that's
to
a
you.
great way to do the serious talk thing.
So please don't do it. Please don't do it. I will be able to finish what I'm saying because I'm terrified of you sometimes.
Oh, don't be terrified of me. I'm the god of hermits, man. People live alone and worship me when they're alone.
That sounds vaguely dirty.
It's not my fault most of them do it with their left hand, okay? It's a really weird prayer position. It's just one left hand pressed against the chest, the other one's lighting a doobie. It's yeah.
So
What were you thinking?
Piper just the rock's eyebrow.
I was saying that I wanted to say yes, but I have a condition.
I'm already married, so the yes is kind of... Wait, no, right, the deal this morning, yeah. Yeah.
My condition is I cannot kill a town. I cannot cause issues with any other families. But I will punish evil, and I will make corrections.
Right, so my tenets of worship generally kind of reflect the path that I chose and are already... So you're saying yes?
I'm saying yes.
Okay, well, okay, so... I know you're scared of me and all, but...
You can sober up for that part. I just need to be able to say it first, because I wouldn't be able to say it otherwise.
Alright, I know you're scared of me and all, but in order to go forward with the yes, I have to be sober, because the deal condition was made when I was sober.
Okay.
If I made the deal condition when I was high, then we could do it. There's states of beings.
I have a spare blood. You can get back to your state in a minute.
I've got so many.
Okay, hold on to this one then.
This one town pissed me off, and I just rolled up their farm.
Why am I here again? Piper's just like, wait, what? Here again?
You were here to help with her, which you did. A bunch of small things to help with her, the amethyst dragon. Your name is...
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm back to bed now?
Oh, this will help you get to sleep real quick.
Okay, no, I need you to look around real quick.
Ah.
And I need you to tell Griffin about this gloriousness. Okay.
Alright, he knows. He's dreaming about it right now. Fields of ganja.
If you ever feel like visiting the Feywild to restock on those baked beans, you know where to find me.
Great. Alright, so gotta sober up real quick. Snaps his fingers and suddenly all of the smoke in the room just... So you're saying yes.
I gave you my conditions.
Vanessa said, or if you need any more items, do feel free to ask us. We're also working on chocolates with other effects in them, too.
What sounds great.
Understood. Matter of fact, one commission that I would ask of you. A series of about 9 30-foot-long chains made of adamantine.
Well, that sounds choice.
Cushioned with Noroth yak fleece.
Minestra is typing. Will take a bit, but sure thing. Do you have the adamantine and any preference for style?
Oh, you'll have to find that. Call this a divine task. Now, as far as style,
Oh my god.
think flowers on the vine. No timetable on that, so if you have to get back to me in 80 years, so be it.
Next tropical flowers.
All right. Who is this guy? It's Mariphus. Nessa.
Dealt with high Mariphus, he sobered up, and now he's sober Mariphus. Sober Mariphus is a little more intimidating. God of the Tempest and God of Solitude.
So, I'm saying yes, but I gave you my stipulations.
Saying
And
yes.
we're not here. We're not at Kirin, by the way.
Repeat your stipulations.
I can't cause any of the troubles that happened where I lived.
I am a neutral god, and as I mentioned while I was high, I only put my followers on paths that support what they are already trying to do.
Okay. I agree to that.
Within reason. Now,
Within reason.
with that, you are asking to be stripped of Gay Seer's influence and implanted with my own. Understand this. This would not make you a full Azamar. Just implant the remnants of what you earned from your father with my power. Which for you may just mean some dreams with purpose bound to them.
That's where the reach comes from.
Then come
Ow.
to me and take my hand.
I'll look over and take his hand. Send your hand on.
As he takes your hand in his grip, suddenly there is a flash that rattles through your body. For the rest of you that are present for this, you watch as Violet's body glows, her flesh and everything becomes translucent, and it's like you're looking at her skeleton through an X-ray or honestly a classic cartoon electrocuted instance. And you can see actually these small echoes of vestigial wings naturally on her back that don't seem draconic in nature, but they are embedded inside of her body as fire is snuffed away from them that you can see from within, and suddenly lightning begins to arc out from them, and then it begins to interlace and race its way up her spinal cord and into her brain.
The rage stop. Integral rage, she's always felt.
It does. What is left in its wake, much like the way Merphis seems to be able to switch, is something that is present like a tool. A place you can mentally put yourself and put to use. But not something that's just passively there and uncontrolled and angry. Now it is decisively a specific instance and moment of rage that you can summon at a moment's notice or put away.
Will always be part of me. That case you're wrong.
Your father did what he had to do.
I know.
Don't think less of him for it.
I don't.
Now then, as he summons another spliff into his hands, my wife is getting thoroughly impatient.
I'd hurry before she punches a hole in your wall.
A Jacob's ladder lights up between his fingers, and he lights the spliff. Sucks it down in one breath. All right. Now, casual summoning of a god does not happen. Just doesn't. So, I hope that this is, gonna be one of some more infrequent talks.
It will be easier later. From what Angel.
Now that said, you and your dreams is a little different. I'm gonna be giving
There you
you
go.
things to do.
There you go.
And he
Okay with that.
disappears from the area. The conductivity from the lightning that he leaves behind races across a lot of the gold piles.
This gum is actually helping with my headache so much.
Good.
I think it was all just drainage.
So the question is here. She looks over at Piper.
Oh, Piper's back at home now. Piper's got sent back home.
Looks over at the dragon. So you wanted some of the things in the bag. Let's go.
Yeah, you got sent back home with a divine level of sleep assistance.
And I'm not waking up till noon tomorrow.
You've got a bit of sleep aid specific divine ganja.
Yeah, I ain't getting up in the morning. So I'm gonna note that. Because I will forget.
She looks over at Ebony. So you wanted some of the stuff in the bag?
Yes.
Now she can get super excited.
The things. My husband already just narrowed it down to half of the stuff within reason. So let's do it. I've got so many things I want to sort through, and you said you were going to give them the draconic boon. What are you doing? Right. Well, babe. Oh, you're doing the babe thing, which means you're you're trying to improvise, aren't you? Oh no, you're doing the contract thing.
It's a contract.
V would be holding the giant scale up, still contemplating the numerous ideas.
Look at this thing. Look at this thing right there.
Like, I want to climb the scale.
He hands over a stack of pages that are slightly pearl colored. These are the boons. These are all each pages that are single-use instances of a sort of magically induced draconic greed. Which, at least as far as what happens when you
Angel knows
choose...
what that is.
Well, this is separate from the spell, actually. This specifically applies to commerce. This allows, when you use one of these contracts on yourself, anything you're buying from a vendor for the next 8 hours, it is half price, and that vendor is okay with it. As well as anything that vendor is buying from you, is worth twice as much.
I was about to say, do we really need to save money? Oh, but making money, yes.
You know what? We could give a quarter of these to Angel, considering all of her children.
Uh-oh, screenshot gore.
Is there more?
Oh,
Or is
the
it back
fucking
when-
Forgot the
half-open eyes.
question about this mechanic.
Sure.
Oh,
Could
yeah,
you
like here,
buy
five.
from a vendor and then sell that item back to the vendor? And if so, how many times can you repeat that process?
For 8 hours.
For 8 hours, it's a really unethical
money
way of
glitch.
robbing somebody, but yeah. They don't have
No.
they don't have a free they don't have an infinite amount of currency that they have in their stores. So
Just an idea.
yeah. It's also not like a video game. After the 8 hours are up, if you do something like that specifically, they may be pissed about it.
We do it to the National Bank. Nestor says in parentheses.
No.
I think when she put parentheses, that means it's out of character.
We're gonna do this old school.
Crash
What
the
are you-
entire stock market.
That's something better. What are you willing to trade?
Welcome to Dragons 11.
This is the first time that Violet is literally looking over and smelling everything and knowing how foreign it is. Let's try this old school. What are you willing to trade?
No.
Yes. Dragons can trade.
What are you in need of?
It's not what I need necessarily, just like you.
Debatable. We enjoy completing our collections. For a dragon, it is a need.
With like a gold-plated Yu-Gi-Oh staff
Don't question it. But yes.
and the eye and the scale.
The real question is, what figure are you without from your collection?
The question is, how many copies do you have and you don't? Because dragons always take more than they need.
Roll a persuasion check on that.
Piper's not here. You get no guidance.
Okay, with a natural 20, I didn't need the guidance. This week is gonna suck so bad.
A natural what?
Natural 20 with a 23 for her persuasion, because she doesn't have anything higher.
You said you have a skag in your company?
Yes, I do. I will bring him to visit.
To my utter shock, I managed to get more than one of these. He walks back to a section of the cave that is specifically devoted to comic books. And he retrieves a pair of pristine Detective Comics Issue 1 and Action Comics Issue 1. In other words, the now over 100 years old in our world, first appearances of Batman and Superman, respectively.
It's 2 copies. I will give you the first edition of Exodia. We found in the shop.
These are worth more than that.
I know that. But I have more.
Best.
She pulls out the Lord of the Rings signed signature copy, 16th from actual set that they had.
The real, in parentheses, she asked, the real question is, do we have the ultra rare Black Lotus? My uncle has one. In real life.
The ring is cute. I have enough of those.
From the set?
Yes,
Interesting.
the full set. Now, what I do have that your skag may be interested in. He goes to the literature section. "1930s first print edition of The Hobbit."
No, the one who would love that is actually Angel Wolf. I was gonna keep this one for myself. She goes into the bag and finds the copy of Spider-Man First Edition that she.
Yoinketh. Take the book.
That's one. I want the other two. And I have more. She pulls out, which was the one thing that we had in there, which was a baseball card that you mentioned that we barely mentioned. I asked about them. There is a Babe Ruth baseball.
Oh. All right.
Now I know Griffin already has one of these. So
Goes back up to the video game section, knowing it's a skag, and retrieves a developer's kit, PlayStation 2. With, as he states, 7 aftermarket modifications to increase its visual fidelity, storage space, and power usage.
pulls out the Inbox GameCube, puts it on the table.
Okay. And while you guys go back and forth exchanging
And she's like, I'm going to go give shit to Griffin. It's gonna be great.
Why are we trading shit?
We're trading it because I owe her a Wii, so I gave her the Wii and like 6 video games, and she split them in half, and then she kept the ones she wanted that were all in plastic and wrapped.
So, while
Griffin doesn't have any of them. That's why.
Well, Halcyon and Violet are currently over in Somerville during this late hour of the night, having gotten the cursed nature of the dragon brain and bits of the dragon heart resolved, and gained abilities therein, with that curse being lifted. Piper having gone back to bed.
SEO's still outside with his girlfriend.
Yes, he is.
Hmm.
Neseo, you would have actually noted the sudden absence of Violet and Halcyon alongside Venestra and Amira, as they spent a bit of time during the night racing each other climbing up the Silverwood tree nearby. Long fucking climb. So, a bit amusing to watch as they stumbled and in some cases very nearly fell, but got up to the tree quicker than expected.
You got it.
And now there is just the aurora blazing overhead.
Come here, kid. Come on. Come here, mama. Come on. Come here.
Weak, motherfucker.
Absolutely.
Come here.
Given that this interim in-between session was again largely just
She wanted mommy tummy. Don't be like that.
meant as an in-between to account for scheduling issues as well as people not being present. Neseo, what would you like to do as the very last thing before we close out for the night?
You want this?
What? There are clouds in the sky.
There are, and they are catching the aurora almost like fog machines in a laser show.
Okay. I'm going to tell Alana I need to be alone for a bit.
Alone?
For a while.
Is it me? Did I do something wrong? Like, is someone else unhappy? And she looks a little bit lower.
I just need to get something out of my system.
Get something out of your system. I already got a lot of something out of your system. Is this a different something?
Baird.
Okay, well, be that way. I'm gonna get up out of this bush. You can find me raiding this poor sweet old lady's pantry because now I'm getting the midnight munchies. So do what you gotta do.
Alright, after she leaves, I'm just going to spread my wings, fly straight up into the sky, into the clouds.
Goofball.
And
Look at you, goofball.
because I can do this at will, I'm just gonna keep casting Thunder Wave, but I want to flavor it as I'm essentially punching the air.
Sure, absolutely.
So every punch is a Thunder Wave. And I would also be releasing my lightning breath every chance I get.
Absolutely. Being an additional light show in the light show that is the night, it's not a quiet light show by any stretch with how those spells work, but
I want to... I don't know how it would look, but basically trying to vent my anger.
Gotcha, yeah. So basically, what eventually kind of ends up happening is you continue to go. It looks sort of in that night, next to this house, almost like a continuous beam of lightning that is beginning to kind of generally create a voided ring in the clouds and an opening in the sky. It's a very, it's a very sort of, at least in terms of the traits of that visual, kind of an anime channeling your aura up into the sky and the clouds make way in face of it, kind of esque visual.
Why is Xanon angry? Did I miss something?
I don't think... No, you were there, but no, it wasn't you.
Alright. Channeling all of that power up into the sky and making the clouds push out of the way. With that, actually, I will allow you to give me a perception check. Given that you are currently very distracted with channeling your power, the DC will be raised to notice this, but all the same, I will allow it.
I need a moment. Computer's lagging. 21 total.
21 total. Okay. I'm going to chalk this up to largely your distance at this point, being up in the air. As the clouds clear and lightning is flashing off every which direction, creating a thunderous light show in the night, disrupting the sleep of perhaps some in the village or in the town down below. You just barely catch a glimpse, retreating away before runes light up marking its teleportational exit. A gigantic eagle-like bird revealed in the clearing clouds, made entirely of stone and rune work. As it teleports away, that is where we're going to end the session.